from JetBlue Park at Fenway South in Fort Myers, Florida, Nesson presents Grapefruit League Baseball. Today, the Miami Marlins come across the state to take on the Boston Red Sox. Hello and welcome, everyone. Tom Caron in for Dave O'Brien. Jerry Remy here, as always. And Jerry, the starting lineup, the infield today, what you'd expect to see on opening day. Interesting outfield today. You got Rusney Castillo, David Murphy, and in right field, Chris Young, the former Yankee.
Well, you know, when Red Sox were making all these moves in the offseason, I think that one that went under the radar screen was Chris Young, because this guy's going to be a very valuable member of the Boston Red Sox. Remember, last year he played with the Yankees. He's the type of player that can play all three outfield positions, left field, center field, right field, and play them very well. And he's also got some power. And a lot of the damage he does is against left-handed pitching, which he's always been spectacular against throughout his career. So I think, you know, from the beginning of the season on, he's going to play a very valuable role in that outfield for the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, his slugging percentage against lefties last year was 6th best in the American League. You said it didn't get a lot of attention because it came the day they announced the David Price signing.
Well, they had no more money to promote it, I guess, after that, right? But, you know, it's going to be okay.
It was an expensive day, but a good day for the Red Sox. They're hoping for a good day today against Don Mattingly's Marlins. Henry Owens on the mound for the Red Sox. The young lefty hasn't given up a run yet in Grapefruit League play. Join us. Baseball coming up from Fenway South after this.
Now through March.
Boston Savings Bank. Stop in one of over 30 EBSB branches throughout Greater Boston and open a free personal or free business checking account. Visit ebsb.com for a location near you.
Saturday afternoon baseball here in Southwest Florida. First Grapefruit League meeting of the year between the Red Sox and the Miami Marlins at JetBlue Park here in Fenway South. Let's take a look at the Marlins lineup. It'll be Miguel Rojas, the shortstop, leading off. Robert Andino, remember him from the Baltimore Orioles in 2011. He's the second baseman. Martin Prado is the third baseman. Derek Dietrich at first. Xavier Scruggs in left field. Cole Gillespie in right. Justin Maxwell in center. Brady Shoemaker is the designated hitter, and behind the plate, it's Adrian Nieto. For the Red Sox, Henry Owens making his third start of this spring, and he has been terrific so far. Hasn't given up a run in 2 Grapefruit League starts, and has pitched very well. Last season, made 11 starts for the Red Sox, his first major league experience. Jerry, so far he's looked well.
He's looked very good, and with the some of the injuries that have gone on, including Eduardo Rodriguez, who knows what might happen with Owens. Let's look at the defense today for the Red Sox. Pablo Sandoval at third base, Xander Bogaerts the shortstop, Dustin Pedroia at second, and Hanley Ramirez the first baseman in the outfield. David Murphy, Rusney Castillo, and Chris Young. And Sandy Leon gets a start behind the plate, catching Owens.
Yeah, Sandy Leon, a late addition to this lineup. Ryan Hannigan, a little bit of a stiff back, nothing major, they say. You take a look at the umpires. John Tumpane is the home plate umpire. Jeff Kellogg, Tim Timmons, and Clint Fagan on the bases. Talked about Chris Young in the open, out in right field. They really like what he can do. John Farrell day one of camp, said he's going to be in there against lefties this season.
Yeah, TC, as we talked about in the open, this is a guy that's going to see an awful lot of playing time for the Red Sox, especially against left-handed pitching, and he's going to play all different positions. He can do that, right field, center field, left field, and do them very well.
Here's Miguel Rojas leading off for the Miami Marlins as Henry Owens gets started with the ball. Rojas hit .301 last year in AAA New Orleans, was called up late in June and hit pretty well for the Marlins at .282. So he's got a chance here to try to find a spot as a utility guy as he looks to bunt here, drops it down the line. Hanley Ramirez is there, scoops it up, wins the race to the bag, and we've got one out. So maybe testing Hanley Ramirez over at first base early on.
Oh, absolutely. They know they've got a young first baseman with young in experience, I should say, at first base in Ramirez. And the fact is they are going to test him. And, the problem with this bunt, it was too much towards Ramirez. Ideally, when you push the ball in that direction, you want to push it out towards second base and get three guys moving, the pitcher, the first baseman, and the second baseman. That time was right at Ramirez.
All right, here's 31-year-old Robert Andino trying to win his way onto this Marlins roster, pretty much in a battle with Rojas for a utility infielder spot. Andino, 9 big league seasons, 468 games played, but you best remember him in New England, or maybe worst, remember him in New England as the guy who delivered off Jonathan Papelbon in the 9th inning of the final game of 2011, dropped in front of Carl Crawford, 2 runs scored, and next thing you knew, the Red Sox were headed to the offseason, and a whole bunch of changes were coming down the pike.
I'll tell you, Tom, that was one of the strangest games I've ever broadcast in my career, was that final game right there.
And he delivers a base hit up the middle here. Andino getting on with a 1-out base hit in the first inning. Talked to Don Mattingly before the game, the new Marlins manager. He said Andino's swinging the bat very well. In a young team, they wouldn't mind having a veteran guy on the bench to help out a bit here.
And you got it exactly right. It is a very young team. People thought last year they may compete in their division, but of course some things broke down for them. Their pitching was not real good, and they've got some very talented young guys. A lot of people pick them third this year in their division. But you're right, they do need some veteran presence on there, and Andino does provide that.
20 games under 500 last year, the Marlins. Wind up with a new manager. What a strange year it was for Miami last year, although we seem to say that just about every year, didn't we? Mike Redmond was the manager at the start of the year, got fired early. They brought Dan Jennings down, who had never managed, the general manager. That didn't work out. He's let go at the end of the year after they finished the 20 games under 500. And you bring Don Mattingly in. All Mattingly did is win 3 straight division titles for the Dodgers. But with a $300 million payroll, they lost in the first round. And that was it for Mattingly.
And he's very excited to be here with the Marlins. He says he enjoys the challenge of working with very young players.
Here's Martin Prado, one of the few established players we'll see in this lineup today. Kind of a 2-game swing for the Marlins. They played around the corner at Hammond Stadium against the Twins yesterday. But, Jerry, it would appear a few of the players did not stick around for day 2.
My gut feeling tells me they have 2 buses. One that took the players back that played yesterday, and the other one coming here today.
That's a veteran move right there, if you can get one game and head back home. Chris Johnson was supposed to be in the lineup today. They wanted him in the lineup yesterday, but he's dealing with back issues. Of course, that's one of the established players on this team. They had him penciled in out in left field this afternoon, though he's primarily an infielder. It's interesting that Mattingly's got a lot of guys playing a lot of different positions here, so he could try to fill out that roster with a little bit of versatility. Two and one the count here as Owen slows it down with a man on base. Evens it up at 2-2.
You brought up a great point to start this ball game with Henry Owens. He's been very, very impressive so far this spring training, as has Stephen Wright. And, with the Eduardo Rodriguez situation, we just don't know if he's going to be ready for opening day. And as the days tick on, it really opens up an opportunity for somebody else.
Count goes to full. Yeah, Stephen Wright, 4 scoreless innings yesterday in a 10-inning loss to the Toronto Blue Jays. A gut-wrenching spring training loss, Jerry.
And a 4-hour bus ride back from Dunedin. They got caught in traffic on 75. There were a number of accidents.
Shut down.
I mean, totally shut down.
And again, Jerry Remy, as we said, a veteran move. The Rem Dog staying here to work with some of the guys who stayed back in camp. Sandoval gets it over, and they turn the double play. Pedroia able to get it across to Hanley Ramirez. So Sandoval with a quick release, and Prado ends the inning with an around-the-horn double play. Scoreless with the Sox coming up in the first.
Payday never.
Bottom of the first here at Jet Blue Park. No score between the Red Sox and the Marlins. Take a look at the Red Sox lineup here for the 11th game of the Grapefruit League season. Castillo in center with Pedroia at second. David Ortiz, the DH. Xander Bogaerts at short. Hanley Ramirez at first with Pablo Sandoval on the other side of the diamond at third. Chris Young in right field. David Murphy in left. And Sandy Leon behind the plate. They'll be facing Chris Narveson, the lefty, making his third appearance of the Grapefruit League season for the Marlins, his first start. 34-year-old veteran trying to get a spot as a non-roster invitee. 29 career wins. But a 4.64 ERA as he faces Rusney Castillo. Castillo leading off today, which is kind of interesting. John Farrell said don't read anything into it. It's not about the lineup change. They're just trying to get Castillo as many at-bats as he can.
Yeah, it's exactly what they do in spring training. You know, try to get a guy going, get him some more at-bats, and get him at the top of the lineup. And he may end up with 4 in this game today.
Castillo off to a nice start here in Grapefruit League play, hitting .313 on the season. So and the question with Castillo has been and continues to be, can he stay healthy and stay in the lineup? Hot shot over to third base. Prado gets it across the diamond in plenty of time, and we've got one down.
TC, let's go back to the last play of last inning, the double play, and I think it's a good example of the new rule in baseball where that runner has to slide before he gets to the second baseman. Now you see the slide right there, and had the rule not be in place, I think Pedroia would have got cleaned out on that particular slide right there. But because he had to go into that slide first, Dustin was able to come across the bag, turn the double play, and complete it. So I think that's a good example right there of what the base runners have to do now.
Jerry, not really new rules, kind of strengthening the existing rules. Do you like the point of emphasis being at that bag?
As a second baseman or a shortstop, I love it.
How about as a runner coming from first base trying to take a guy out?
That's a lot more difficult now. It is a bit more difficult.
The interesting thing, and we saw it, when they made the changes in the catching collision, right? We started to see some, unexpected consequences out of that as Pedroia here with one out faces Narveson. The interesting thing to watch here, I think, Jerry, is that neighborhood play. They're kind of taking the neighborhood play out of it now. You're going to have to tag the bag, and with replay, because this is a reviewable situation with the double play, you may find sometimes where a guy would have been out last year, but in this case, they might rule him safe because the shortstop or second baseman did not have his foot on the bag when he had the ball.
And I totally agree with that. I mean, there's no reason not to, especially the way the rules are right now. I mean, you should have to make contact with the bag.
Here's Pedroia with a base hit to left field. So with one out, Dustin Pedroia gets just his second hit of spring training. And that'll bring up Big Papi David Ortiz with a man on and one out here in the first.
I was talking to Dustin a couple of days ago, and he felt like he was just a little bit away from being on target. And here's a good example of him being on target. That top spin line drive that he has a tendency to hit, that time to left field for the base hit.
Nice hand for Big Papi as David Ortiz gets introduced. Hard to believe. We talked about the farewell tour that begins in Cleveland in April, but it's also been 20 years that he has been at Fort Myers for spring training, Jerry. First with the Minnesota Twins, now across town with the Red Sox. That's half his life.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way, but you're right. He came up as a kid with the Minnesota Twins just down the road, about, 3 miles?
Yeah, just a little left around the corner on 6 Mile Cypress. Hammond Stadium. You see plenty of it, those big Mayor's Cup games. Here's a little number to short. And a 6-4-3 double play will end this inning. So each team grounding into a double play to end the first were scoreless heading into the second.
Welcome back to JetBlue Park. I'm Garrett Austin. TC, Jerry, manager John Farrell was saying that Henry Owens pitches with an air of confidence, and he has a certain calmness and confidence when he's on the mound. Now, Henry's been feeling very confident after 2 good starts, and he feels that that 5th rotation spot is definitely within his reach. I was talking to him the other day, and he said that he wanted to come into camp in better shape. He said he thought he was in good shape last year, but after pitching a career-high 180 innings split between Pawtucket and Boston, he was laboring more than he liked at the end of the season. So he said he hired a trainer in the offseason, and so far, guys, he said it's been paying dividends.
Well, you know, for a long time, Jerry, this was the kid everybody talked about, right? 2 straight years he was rated the top pitching prospect in the organization by Baseball America, and last year got an opportunity to take that stuff to the next level. But you talk about those adjustments a young pitcher makes year one. You know, it's a cat and mouse game, and these guys figure you out, so you're constantly trying to improve.
Well, and, you know, Garen made a great point there about the fact that, you know, it's a long season. That first season you spend with that extra month of September at the big league level is a little bit mind-boggling for players who have never done it before. Position players and pitchers, because that extra month makes a big deal. Remember, these guys have only played till the end of August, and then you have that month of September in the big leagues. That's a lot of extra games. So that's what he was talking about, going home and getting physically ready for a complete season.
Got called up from Pawtucket in August, made his first major league start at Yankee Stadium, where he took the loss. Gave up 3 runs in 5 innings. The youngest Sox pitcher to start his first major league game at Yankee Stadium since Billy Rohr back in the Impossible Dream season in 1967. Derek Dietrich, the first baseman up here, thought he had ball 4. Home plate umpire Tim Payne had different ideas, so the count is full as Owens delivers. High, inside, that'll be ball 4. Dietrich knew he had the walk all along. So Henry Owens, the 23-year-old, big 6'6", 220-pound lefty out of Huntington Beach. It's a very fine line, Jerry, when you look at a guy and you're around Henry Owens, between that kind of, he's calm, he doesn't get rattled, but, California cool. You want to make sure the guy has a pulse and that he is getting ready for the game. You know what I mean? And that's with a guy like this. The more you watch him, the more you realize that is confidence that you're seeing out on the mound.
Yeah, and he should have it, because he's got good stuff. He knows he has good stuff. He's shown that at the minor league level, and he continued to show it last year in brief stints with the Red Sox. So, confidence he should have coming into spring training.
Gets ahead of the left fielder Xavier Scruggs, who was the late addition to the lineup after Chris Johnson was taken out with the recurring back issue. 0-2, he gets ahead of Scruggs, and Sandy Leon with a quick throw there to Hanley Ramirez. Dietrich gets back. Scruggs signed to a minor league free agent contract. Spent a couple of years with the St. Louis Cardinals. Career .238 hitter in the minors. Certainly a depth guy for the Marlins. The 0-2 pitch. Fly ball left field. Murphy to the warning track under it. And to make the catch for the first out of the inning. So one down here with a man on in the second inning. No score between the Red Sox and the Marlins on a gorgeous Southwest Florida afternoon. Cole Gillespie, the right fielder, come up now with one down. It's a guy who has not been a great hitter over the course of his career, a .253 career average, but last year hit .290. In 67 games with the Marlins, that's his best season at the majors, trying to make his 6th major league club. Want to know the count now as Owens looks in.
And here's a count that you really don't want to run on, a 2-0 count. You've got a guy that has the ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark, and you want to kind of let him pick his pitch on a 2-0. So I don't think that Mattingly will have Dietrich running at first base on the 2-0. It's an unusual count to run on.
In there for a strike.
Now that changes, TC. Two balls, one strike. Anything could possibly happen here. The problem is reading the left-handed. Do they have him? Do they have anything on him right now that will let him take off? Have they picked anything up yet?
And he goes. Leon up throwing. Looked like it was in there in time, but the ball down low. Falls to the ground. That'll be a stolen base for Dietrich.
That's what we're talking about. The count runs to 2-1. Now all bets are off. It's a good pitch to go on because that pitcher wants to go 2-2. And the throw goes to second base, and it was a nice pick by Pedroia at second base. But, at that point, he had just beat it. So in scoring position now with the one out. Good time to run. Successful at getting in scoring position. And a good count for Gillespie.
3-1 here as Owens looks in. And the pitch, fly ball, left field, Murphy under it. He'll get called off there by Castillo. Castillo coming across and make the catch for the second out of the inning.
Good job there by Rusney Castillo. He's the take charge guy in center field without question, and it's a good thing because David Murphy had some problems with the sun. I think he lost that ball, and Castillo tracked it all the way. He's the center fielder. He's the take charge guy. He's responsible for calling off the corner outfielders.
2 down here as we'll see Justin Maxwell coming up. Maxwell, the center fielder for the Marlins today, spent last year with the San Francisco Giants, and his favorite player growing up was Barry Bonds.
Well, isn't that
signs
interesting?
with the Marlins 2 days after he signs. Guess who becomes the new hitting coach for Don Mattingly? Barry Bonds. Drops one in there. Henry Owens getting ahead 0-1.
Yeah, good slow curveball that time by Owens. A little change of speeds, it looks like, on the breaking ball.
That's what made Owens such a successful pitcher coming up through the minor league system, his ability to change speeds, to bring in the breaking ball. All of that offsetting the fastball, which he used to get ahead 0-2. Last year ended up leading the Red Sox with 4 starts of 7 innings or longer in the second half. Certainly saw glimpses, Jerry, last year that this guy could be a middle-of-the-rotation fixture on a big league team.
I think without question, there's still growing going on as far as not in height, but in baseball knowledge and pitching knowledge.
Swing and a miss, and he gets Maxwell to end the inning. So after Dietrich steals second, he is stranded there. Sox coming up in the bottom of the second of a scoreless game. Sox baseball on NESN is brought to you by Jordan's Furniture, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. By Ace Ticket. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. And by Bob's Discount Furniture. No score here at JetBlue Park in Fort Myers. Tom Karen, Jerry Remy, Karen Austin with you as the Sox take on the Marlins. Xander Bogaerts takes a called strike to begin his at-bat. Bogaerts hitting .273 here in Grapefruit League play so far. And it's funny, Jerry, with all the talk of David Ortiz retirement and some of the new players, Hanley Ramirez, Pablo Sandoval, hasn't been a lot of talk about Xander Bogaerts. Considering he is second in the league in hitting last year, it's probably a guy we should be talking about.
Exactly right, and he's having a decent spring so far. .273 average coming in. He has not made a lot of trips so far this spring. A lot of time he stayed home with the infielders, Dustin Pedroia, Sandoval, Ramirez, while they go on a road trip, getting extra work in here in Florida. But I find it interesting the way the Marlins are playing him. They're giving that big hole at second base, and that's what he likes to use. And I think when we start the regular season, you're going to kind of see him pinch over there on that side against him and try to make him pull the ball.
Remember last year, early on, people were saying the only thing they were surprised by, he wasn't showing the power, but so much of his offense was going to the opposite field. They would give him that right side, and he would take it.
That's exactly right. And I think as this year goes on, I think you're going to see more power.
Pitch to Bogaerts, swing and a miss. So Bogart strikes out here to begin the second inning. Good pitch there from Narveson. That'll bring up Hanley Ramirez, the first baseman. And Hanley Ramirez has had a lot of attention paid to his glove work so far here at camp, but hitting .333, Jerry, and the whole reason we're talking about Hanley Ramirez trying to become a first baseman is because they need to keep his bat in the lineup, and they need that bat to be productive.
And, you know, the defensive end of it, TC, you know, he's working every single day at it, down prior to the workouts starting, down about 8:30 in the morning. He and Sandoval on field number 1.
And Chopper to third base. Prado gets it across the way, and that'll be the second out. So,
and
it's all out there.
It's a slow process. I mean, you know, but he's doing it, and he's committed to it. And the biggest thing, I think, defensively for him is to get off to a good start defensively, you know, and have positive things happen in spring training early in the season. And then I think that's something that he can carry through with him. Remember last year when he switched to the outfield, it didn't happen well right from the beginning. And that makes it awfully miserable to go out there every day knowing, you know, you're going to have problems out there.
Ramirez last season had 10 home runs in April. Remember how important that bat was at that point. And then he only had 9 the rest of the season. That coincided with the shoulder injury when he tried to make that catch running into the corner out in left field. Here's Pablo Sandoval way ahead of that one. His count goes to 1-1.
Now, one of the things they're trying to do with Pablo, he's going back to the switch hitting from the right side, and what they're trying to get him to do, both right-handed and left-handed, is stay back more on the pitches. Keep that weight back as long as possible before the transfer.
Sandoval puts a drive into that one. It is up towards the monster and off the top of the monster. Sandoval legging it out with a stand-up double, a 2-out double for Pablo Sandoval. That would have been gone at Fenway Park in Boston because it hit that top area of the Green Monster here in Florida, which is a few feet taller than the monster back at Fenway.
You know, there's a good example right there, what I was just talking about. So look at the weight stay back and then the transfer to the front foot. In other words, he's not just going out to that front foot and leaning where he loses all his power. What he's doing is staying back a little bit longer and then make the transfer on contact, and that's exactly what he did that time. He hit the ball a long, long way.
So a 2-out double brings up Chris Young with a chance to drive in a run, scoreless here in the bottom of the second. Narveson has given up a hit in each inning. He worked around the Dustin Pedroia single back in the first, trying to do the same around the Sandoval double here in the second. Narveson, you may remember, Jerry, was actually in the Red Sox organization back in 2005.
I do not.
He was acquired in the Byung-Young Kim trade. And he pitched in Pawtucket that year. 4.77 his earned run average in 21 starts.
Well, that's good information because I had no clue.
You don't remember? I thought maybe you guys caught up before the game.
No.
Asked him how he was doing. He has kicked around a bit since then, trying to land with a big league team that he could stay with. As we said, a non-roster invitee this season with the Marlins. He gets a called strike there to Chris Young, who didn't like it. And you see Narveson, 34 years old, but most teams are willing to take a good look at a left-handed pitcher if he can deliver, Jerry.
You look at the rotations that's set up right now for Miami. You know, they've got D. Gordon, of course, a terrific player at second baseman, leading off usually for them, and Yelich in that lineup. Prado, who's here today. Giancarlo Stanton, who's not in the lineup today. Justin Bour, Ozuna, Real Multo. So they, you know, it's a very decent young lineup that they have.
Young pops this one up to center field. Maxwell comes in, camps under it to make the catch and end the inning. So Sandoval stranded after his 2-out double. We're scoreless heading to the third. No score as Henry Owens comes back out for the third inning. Don't miss out on Big Papi's final season. Enjoy a game at Fenway Park. Great tickets throughout the year still available. Get your tickets by visiting redsox.com/tickets or calling 877-RED SOX 9 today. No score here at the top of the third as the Marlins come to bat. Brady Shoemaker leading off the inning for the Marlins. Shoemaker was born in Brazil, Indiana. I didn't know that was a town, Jerry. You ever been to Brazil, Indiana?
I have not been to Brazil, Indiana, nor Brazil.
If you had to choose one, where would you be headed?
Brazil.
Yeah, I think Brazil would be the call. Played at Indiana State last season, hit .284 with AAA New Orleans. Owens just missing inside. The story with the Marlins, and we know they've won a couple of World Series in the middle of all the chaos. They seem to build it, and then it all falls apart. But it'll be interesting if they leave Don Mattingly alone to manage this team. They have finally brought in an established manager after kind of going through a carousel here, Jared. I think most people believe Mattingly could be the right guy for this young team to come into its own over the next couple of years. I
think so. Don now has plenty of managerial experience out with the Dodgers.
Foul ball there.
And the fact that, he comes to a young club, I think he's a perfect manager for a young team. A guy that likes to instruct, very, very patient. Very excited when I was speaking with him at the batting cage today about the move from the West Coast back to the East Coast and working with a young ball club. And, it was such a joke last year when they had the general manager of the club come down and manage. I mean, come on. What are we talking about here? I mean, there was no stability at all through the organization.
They went out and added Wei-Yin Chen, the Baltimore Orioles pitcher. He's essentially signed as a number 2. They lost Henderson Alvarez, so Chen expected to replace Alvarez. Edwin Jackson, who was relieving with the Cubs, but has a chance to start here in Miami. Now, they've got maybe the best pitcher in the game, right? Jose Fernandez is as good as anybody playing this game right now. You've got an electric speed guy at the top of the order with D. Gordon, a power bat, and Giancarlo Stanton. Can they find the rest of it? That's the question with this team, as that'll be ball 4. Shoemaker heads to first base. We've been talking about Hanley Ramirez, his work at first base. Jerry's been keeping a close eye on it. No one has seen the work more than Brian Butterfield. Here's a look at what the coach has been doing with him.
You can't miss from there. I'll tell you what, you and Pin, when you play low, you can't miss. And you won't. Boy, good feet. It's not this. I'm not going to expose the heel over the middle of the base because somebody will step on me. And it's not this because now my leg becomes too stiff to get down. If I can get a little bit of this. Here. See my leg now? Now I'm standing through that one. You're catching 3 of these. Let it hit first. Object is try to stay through. There. Through, catching 3 balls in a row. Yeah. Remember, it's not finger down, it's like it's kind of a side 5 kill, and you're pinching right here. A little bit further out. Yeah. See, that's all, just once you start getting that feel, now you're extending through the ball. Good.
Some good all-access stuff right there. You'll see more of that tonight on NESN Sports Today at 10 o'clock. Check that out. As Butterfield's as good as it gets in that kind of work, Jerry.
Yeah, it was great. I had the opportunity to sit in on that. And, Pablo Sandoval was there along with Bogarts and, of course, Hanley. And it was a terrific instructional video, really was. Brian Butterfield's so good at teaching. And that work has been going on since day one of the spring training. So, if it doesn't succeed, it's not going to be because of lack of effort. The effort has been there. And I found it very interesting. It was a great refresher course for me and terrific for the players.
2-1 the count to Adrian Nieto, the number 9 hitter. Battling with Jeff Mitchell really for the backup catching spot to JT Realmuto, who had such a great year last year. And Henry Owens in a spot of trouble here. 3-1 the count.
Yeah, we may see that runner go again at first base. It would not be a hit-and-run situation. It'd be a run and hit if he does go.
Shoemaker holds. Owens misses. Ball 4. So 2 on without benefit of a hit here in the third inning. And while Owens has been scoreless here at spring training, Jerry, some of the innings have been an adventure. He's had to work his way out of some jams early on, and you like that composure, but you'd also like to see him get through some cleaner innings.
Yeah, and you know, it was pretty clean up to this point, but back-to-back walks to start an inning is not good. Now, let's see how the Marlins play this. You know, you got your leadoff man on. I know it's early in the game. I know it's spring training, but do they want to work on things? Do they want to work on the sacrifice bunt? Honestly, if I was on defense right now for the Red Sox, I'd want to work on that. You know, hope that they do, but all the fundamentals we've been working on, we'll see if it pays off.
Miguel Rojas tried to bunt for a single leading off the game. It's cleanly fielded by Hanley Ramirez, and Rojas takes a called strike. They know what Rojas can do with a glove. He is a slick fielding infielder playing short today. Last year, got the opportunity the second half of the year after Andy Hechavarria was injured. Spent some time with the Dodgers organization. In fact, a couple of years ago when the Dodgers began the season in Australia, Don Mattingly invited him to come with the team. Swing and a miss there. And quickly it's 0-2. Rojas didn't get to play, Jerry. They didn't put him on the roster. He didn't know that. Went all the way to Australia, got to stand in line and be introduced, and then go stand at the far end of the dugout. You can't play.
Well, you know, it's always good to travel. And you can't wait. They're paying for a free trip for you,
That's
right?
Exactly right. Big league meal money for a couple of days. Owen 2 the count now for Owens. Misses there.
Good fastball at 90 miles an hour. They backed up a changeup with a fastball that time and tried to bust it inside on Rojas, but a good eye by Rojas as he takes it, as it was just a little bit down and in.
Two on, nobody out. Scoreless here in the third. Pitch from Owens. This is high there, so Rojas battling back. 2-2 the count. Rojas came to Miami in the D. Gordon deal when the Dodgers dealt Gordon. Battling with Owens here. The 2-2 from Owens. Swing and a miss, he got it.
That's a very good pitch right there, a changeup, and that completely surprised Rojas on that particular pitch. He was not expecting the off-speed pitch, and he gets the changeup right there for the strikeout. So big out, gets the first out, leaves men at first and second.
That'll bring up Andino. Had a single in the first inning, the only hit of the game so far by the Marlins. Prado followed up with a 5-4-3 double play that ended the inning. Now Andino with one out. Chance to do some damage with two men on. Fouls this one back up here.
You know, you watch the second baseman in this situation, Dustin Pedroia, and you know his job is complex because he's responsible basically for keeping that runner close at second base, but yet with the man in scoring position, you've got to make sure you get back to your position so you're not caught out of position. You got to see him dodging behind him to try to keep him as close as possible, but then fight to get back to his position.
Andino fouls that off, so 0-2 the count to Andino, who has been red hot throughout camp so far. 5 for 13 coming into this at bat.
And TC, the Red Sox had a pickoff play on right there because Pedroia was heading to the second base bag when that pitch was going in, and Leon came up in a throwing motion, so there was a pickoff attempt going on at second base.
The 0-2 tries to get him to chase. Andino, we talked about 9 years in the big leagues. First, let's take another look at that pickoff attempt.
Yeah, you can see Pedroia going in on the pitch, and you see the catcher Leon come up in his crouch. So they had a play on. It was between the shortstop and the second baseman, and a lot of time the second baseman will give the sign to the catcher that, look, we want to try this.
Owens bounces one in the dirt. Good block there by Leone. Count 2-2. I was saying Andino, who's got that nearly 500 major league games, was out of official baseball last year, playing for an independent league team, the Somerset Patriots.
Isn't that Somerset, Massachusetts, by any chance?
I would think not, because they'd be the Somerset Rem Dogs if they were going to be anything down that way. Your home neck of the woods. 50th pitch for Owens, fouled off by Andino. Andino only hit .248 with the Somerset Patriots last season. But again, you can tell just by talking to Mattingly that he likes having that veteran presence, and they've played him at different positions. Obviously, D. Gordon's their second baseman. Andino playing second here today, but they've had him at short. They've had him in the outfield a little bit. Right here, he's battled back, 2-2. A called strike there. Terrific pitch from Owens. Freezes him at the second out of the inning.
Now, Owens done a real good job with the last two hitters on setting him up, then putting him away with breaking balls. First, it was a changeup to Rojas, the last hitter. This time it's the breaking ball, the curveball to Andino. So he's not trying to power guys right now to put him away. He's using his off-speed pitches, and those men still at first and second, but now with two outs.
Martin Prado grounded in the inning-ending double play in the first inning. Still 2 on, but now 2 outs, as you said. He takes ball 1 to start the at-bat. Prado, 2 for 12, 2 for 13 now after that double play so far this spring training. .288 hitter last season. One of the better third basemen in the game. In fact, the best fielding percentage of any third baseman in Major League Baseball last year. .976 his fielding percentage at third.
He's a big guy, too. You know, he moves around very well for a guy his size. Tall, thick.
So his numbers there with runners in scoring position. A .310 hitter last season. He's got one here with 2 down in the third. Swing and a miss there from Prado.
That was challenge time right there. 2 balls, no strike, going right after the power guy with the fastball, and Owens throws it right by him.
Two and 1, 2 down, 2 on here. Drops in the curveball there for a called strike.
Yeah, he's got the good curveball working for him right now. Got that strikeout in Andino with the curveball. Completely fooled Prado on that pitch with the breaking ball.
Now you got the hitter thinking. Seen just about everything this at bat. 2-2 the count. Owens looks back the runner at second. Shoemaker hustles back. Leone coming out to talk.
Yeah, the message here may be, look, right now you're on fire. You've got 2 strikeouts in a row. Why worry about the man at second base on a 2-2 count? Let's go right after the hitter. It's almost like that little move breaks momentum.
Yeah, and we just said, you got the hitter thinking. Now you've given him a chance to sort of regroup, set the reset button almost. Count still 2-2 as Owens looks in. The pitch from Owens fouled back as Prado stays alive.
And he fouls off a pretty good pitch, too. That fastball down and in. Good location from Owens, and a good job fouling it off by Prado.
.56 pitches so far by Owens in this one. Had to battle the back-to-back walks to lead off this third inning, down in the dirt, blocked by Leone, but that'll bring the count to full. Expecting later today to see Koji Uehara, Craig Kimbrell, Junichi Tazawa. Right here, it's Owens against Prado. 2 on, the 3-2 pitch. Fly ball, left field. If it stays fair, it's gone. Foul ball. Didn't fool him with that one, Jerry.
No, he did not, and that ball was up just a little bit more than the previous fastball that he threw him, and that time Prado was all over it. You'll see they want that pitch a little bit away, and instead it stays inside, and fortunately for the Red Sox and Owens, it is pulled foul very deep.
Battle continues here. 8th pitch of the at-bat. Owens outside, misses. 3rd walk of the inning issued by Owens, and that will load the bases for Derek Dietrich. Carl Willis will come out to have a word with his pitcher.
Yeah, trying to go back to the off-speed pitch again. He was successful with it. A couple of strikeouts, a changeup, and a curveball on the previous 2 batters. Tried the curveball again on the 3-2 count, but that time it looked like it just slipped out of his hand.
So hasn't given up a hit in the inning, but the bases are loaded. There's your new 30-second clock. Coach comes out to talk to the pitcher. He's got 30 seconds to get his message across. And Willis gets out of there. All part of the pace of play, pace of game initiatives over the last couple of seasons, Jerry.
Well, I kind of like it, you know. I really believe that you can get everything you need to say out there in 30 seconds. I've been involved in many meetings on the mound, and, you know, a lot of them are really to just kind of, when somebody's warming up, give them a little bit more time to get ready. But to get a message across, I think 30 seconds, I think you can do it.
Derek Dietrich up now. 2 down and the bases loaded. Just misses on the breaking ball. Dietrich walked in the 2nd inning, stole second base, but was stranded there. 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. This inning so far for Henry Owens. Out ahead of that one, as he'll foul it into the first base dugout, the home dugout for the Marlins, or the road dugout here at JetBlue. One of the rare swaps where the visitors are on the first base side, the home team on the third base side, but that's, of course, because of the configuration of JetBlue. The Red Sox can go up the tunnel into the clubhouse, which is inside the Green Monster here in Fort Myers. The 1-1. Swing and a miss.
Yeah, it's interesting, too, because teams that come in for the first time to this ballpark, their clubhouse visiting teams is also on the third base side. So a lot of them come out and just sit in the Red Sox dugout. They're not sure, you know, they think that's their dugout, but sure. No. You got to walk across the field into the first base dugout.
Don Mattingly looked at one of the Marlins staff and said, "That's really the only way back to our clubhouse?" He's like, "Yes, sir." Here's the 1-2 from Owens. Fly ball, right field. Back after it is Young, but he won't get to it. Off the wall, Young brings it in. 1 run will score. The 2nd run in, and a 2-run, 2-out single for Derek Dietrich gives the Marlins a 2-0 lead.
Well, it was the curveball again, but this time it stayed upstairs for Henry Owens. And, you know, really he got himself in trouble this inning with the 3 walks. And then the breaking ball comes, as you can see right there. I mean, that stayed about middle of the plate, belt high. And a good job by Dietrich to stay right on it and pull it over the head of Chris Young out there. Off the wall, almost a grand slam home run, and that's going to be the afternoon for Owens.
So a 2-0 lead as Owens heads out. We'll take a break and come back with more from JetBlue Park after this.
My
Now Miami has the lead 2-0, and really was walks that inning that hurt Henry Owens. A couple of 3 walks actually in the inning. And then you can see the last one to Prado. That brought up Dietrich. He gets a hanging breaking ball right there and hooks it almost out of the ballpark. So Henry Owens really getting himself in trouble. Has only gave up 1 hit that inning. He had 3 walks and 2 strikeouts, and then of course that double to drive in 2 runs.
That'll bring in Jorge Marban, the 6'1", 215-pound right-handed pitcher. Second year in the organization after 3 seasons of independent league baseball. Spent 3 years with Florence. He delivers here as Xavier Scruggs sends this one up and out. First pitch swinging, a 3-run home run for Xavier Scruggs. And the Marlins have a 5-0 lead.
Well, how about that? Scruggs was not even in the starting lineup today. And all of a sudden was inserted just prior to batting practice. And he says, thank you very much for getting me in there because I'm going to do some damage. And he certainly does on the first pitch. Just a great job right there. As you can see that head on the baseball, solid contact, weight back. And boy, just absolutely crushes that out to the 379 and over.
So a rough greeting for Marban as he comes in, throws 1 pitch. It goes about 400 feet to dead center. Well, Scruggs probably thinking here's a young pitcher getting a chance to come into a big league game in the middle of an inning. Probably going to try to get one over the plate to begin his outing. Line drive here from Gillespie to center field, and no problem there for Castillo. But the damage done. The 2-run double for Dietrich, the 3-run homer for Scruggs, and a 5-0 lead for the Fish. Jordan's Furniture, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. Right now, get up to 60 months with no interest on anything at Jordan's Furniture. Furnish one room or your entire home. And best of all, you get to enjoy it now. Visit Jordans.com for details. Chris Narveson out for his 3rd inning of work. Single to Pedroia in the first, double to Sandoval in the second, but he's been able to work around it all. David Murphy now leading off the 3rd for the Red Sox and takes a called first strike. Murphy 4 for 9 so far with the Red Sox this camp. Was an interesting signing, Jer, because it's a guy who's established, obviously, began his career with the Red Sox. Was traded in the Eric Gagne deal to Texas. Went on to play for Cleveland. Has been a pretty productive hitter wherever he's been.
Yeah, he has. And he had some very nice years with the Texas Rangers. Very integral part of some of their success down there. And, you know, you look at him in a position here with the Red Sox, left-handed backup outfielder possibly.
And he lines this one to right. A nice diving catch as Gillespie gets in there and gets under it for the first out of the inning.
That's a tough play by Gillespie because that ball is sinking very quickly on him, and you've got to get an excellent jump. He read that ball very, very well off the bat, goes into the slide and able to hold on to the baseball as the glove hits the ground. So nice play by Gillespie out there in right field.
Number 9 hitter Sandy Leon now with one out will step up to the plate. It's just a little later than this last year when the announcement came that Christian Vazquez would undergo Tommy John surgery and miss the entire season. Sandy Leon was then acquired from Washington. And later in the season, Ryan Hannigan would get hurt. Blake Swihart would come up and become the everyday catcher. But through it all, Sandy Leon kind of hung in there for the season with the Red Sox. He came back this year, where it's a little more crowded with Vazquez returning. Leon drives this one right center field. It'll drop in for a base hit.
Now, Leon's been swinging the bat very well. I mean, 500 coming in a game. Now, granted, not a lot of at-bats, but still making those at-bats very productive early in the spring here. Actually, it's not that early anymore. When you start to think about it, you know, the time is ticking. And Chili Davis and company would like to see, you know, some of these guys eventually within the next, I'd say, week or so, get more and more at-bats to try to get that swing comfortable before the season starts. And I think that's going to happen. The Red Sox schedule right now kind of turns in their favor a little bit. They've had a lot of road trips, especially last week. And so this week, I think you're going to see a lot of back-to-back games by players instead of staying back from those road trips.
Castillo reaches out and slaps that one to right field. Leon heading to second, so back-to-back singles with one out.
That's a good job.
Third.
Yeah, good job by Castillo. You know, his backside was gone on that, but his hands remained in a pretty good spot to make contact. And he finds that hole between first and second. Now look at the backside. I mean, it's not great balance, but the hands are right there, and he's able to drive that ball on the ground and find that 3-4 hole to pick up the base hit.
That qualifies a nice piece of hitting?
Yeah, very nice. Anytime you get a base hit, that's a nice piece of hitting.
But I've noticed guys only use nice piece of hitting when it's opposite field. You never see a guy who really just yanks one down the line. You don't call that a nice piece of hitting.
I do once in a while.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying in general. That classification, nice piece of hitting, generally has to be opposite field.
It does. And, you know, when you're doing that, and Bogarts is a great example of that, you know, you're on the baseball, and if you watch these guys take batting practice every single day, their first round of hitting usually is to the opposite field, and they'll go up the middle, they'll pull the ball, and they end up back to the opposite field. So that makes it nice hitting. When you get the response that you're getting batting practice in your game is a nice piece of hitting.
I've heard you say it time and again, when a guy's in a slump, usually you'll see that timing starting to come back when he starts going opposite field.
And that's because he's staying back longer and the hands are back and the head is on the baseball.
All right, so after a nice piece of hitting by Rusney Castillo, Dustin Pedroia up with one out, 2 on. Takes call strike there for the count to go to 2-1. Good opportunity for Pedroia, who got a base hit in the first inning. Pedroia coming into camp healthy, rested. Missed that time last season, but came back at the end of the year. Miss outside there, so it'll go to 3-1. That hamstring kept him out from late July all the way into September, but yeah, it would have been easy for a veteran to take it to the house at that point. Pedroia wanted to come back, played 18 of the final 25 games. More importantly, hit .308 in that stretch. Go into the offseason feeling good about where you are. Pedroia fouls that one.
Had himself all geared up for a 3-1 fastball. He did get the fastball 3-1, but it was a little bit away from him. Not one that he could make contact on and pull and maybe pop a 3-run home run here, but that ball just a little bit on the outside part of the plate.
So now it's a 3-2 count. Narveson facing Pedroia here in the bottom of the third. A 5-run third inning for the Marlins, setting a 5-0 score. It's where we are now, and Pedroia walks to load the bases for David Ortiz. Big Poppy. You know, last year, one of the stories that probably didn't get a lot of play is how well he hit against lefties. He hit .333 from July on against left-handed pitching. And really now, over the last, 6-7 years, has consistently hit against lefties. Where maybe early in the career, it was something he worked on. Out ahead of this one, he fouls it over to the first base side.
You know, it's interesting when you lefty against lefty. You know, when you come to the big leagues, most coaches tell you, we're trying to take that lefty to the opposite field. And, you know, it's not that easy. And a lot of times guys figure out, you know, I'm going to look for something middle in until I get 2 strikes. And if they get that pitch middle in, they're able to handle it pretty well. 2 strikes is a different story. Now you got to try to cover the whole plate.
0-1, the pitch from Narveson down in the dirt, 1-1 the count. Think of David Ortiz when he first came to Boston, 03, 04. A lot of those home runs were up over the monster. He used the opposite field, and I think he got away from that for a little while in his career, Jerry, as the home run numbers started going over to the bullpen. But you've seen him as he's gone on in his career come back to being a guy who can hit to all fields.
Yeah.
Swinging ahead of that one, 1-2 the count.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed with David in very few at-bats here in spring training is his head discipline right now is not quite where he'd like it to be. It's leaving a little bit too soon, as you could clearly see on that last pitch.
50th pitch of the game for Narveson coming up. Leone at third, Castillo at second, Pedroia at first, bases loaded, 1 out. As David Ortiz digs in. Chopper to second base. Andino up with it. 4-6-3, the double play to end the inning. So the Red Sox load him up, but can't bring him home. 5-0. Marlins lead after 3. Heading to the 4th, of the Marlins leading 5-0. New England's premier hair loss doctor is Dr. Robert Leonard. Do it Wes Welker, Lyndon Byers, and I all did. We restored our hair with Dr. Robert Leonard. You'll look younger, you'll feel younger, and more importantly, Jerry, you'll get your hair back. Call 1-800-GET-HAIR for a free consultation.
I'm so impressed. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I told you, I used to get a sunburn up on the scalp. I don't know if you ever dealt with that. You know, now I got some coverage.
I deal with it every day.
Now I got some coverage. Thanks, Dr. Leonard, for the shade. William Cuevas is the new pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. So they brought in Marban, who was an extra player called up from the minor league group, to finish off that 3rd inning. We want to give the other guys a fresh inning whenever you can, a clean inning to start. And that'll bring in Cuevas, 6'2", 215 pounds, 25 years old. as he tries to make an impression, Jerry. So often at this stage of camp, you do the writing on the wall. It's going to be awful tough for a guy like Cuevas to make the Major League roster, but you might do something here in camp that'll stay in the memory banks of John Farrell and the group. And, come mid-season when they need somebody, hey, what about that guy who did this for us down in Fort Myers?
Well, you're very aware of this because you're in John Farrell's meetings every day prior to your show. And how many times have we heard when a pitch is called up, and we have tough time recalling who it was because we haven't seen him in spring training, and they'll say, well, he was very impressive for us in the spring, so that made us think about him. And if he's having some success down there and gets the recommendation of whoever he's playing for, they go to him.
Maxwell battling that one off. Stay alive. Justin Maxwell struck out to end the second inning against Henry Owens. Owens was cruising through 2 innings, but then back-to-back walks to begin the third. A 2-out walk to Prado, loading the bases. The double from Dietrich chased him, and then Scruggs, the 3-run homer. Swing and a miss there from Maxwell. He strikes out for the second time today. Today's Red Sox spring training game on NESN is brought to you in part by Ace Ticket. Ace Ticket is Boston's trusted source for Red Sox, Bruins, and Celtics tickets. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS to treat someone special to a game now. 1 month from today, Jerry, you'll be home. Already be back from the first road trip of the season. You will have been through Montreal, Cleveland, Toronto. You will have seen opening day at Fenway Park on the 11th of April.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. As I mentioned earlier, time is moving along here in spring training, and it won't be long before we do get to Cleveland for opening day, that 4 o'clock game against the Indians.
A little strange to see the Fenway Park opener no day off the day after that. Usually they keep that day as a makeup in case you lose the home opener, but Baltimore in town.
The advantage of that is Baltimore's in our division, so if you do have a rain out in that first series, you can always schedule a day, night, or later on because they'll be back 2 more times after that. So not a big a need as a day off in Cleveland. Now, you lose a game in Cleveland, you got to go back there. Well, play a doubleheader that early in the season, which is not going to be pleasant, under those conditions.
That's ball 4. Shoemaker walks for the second time. His walk in the third inning started the rally. A 5-run rally. All the runs coming with 2 outs, and a 1-out walk here with Nieto coming up. I remember a few years ago, the entire first week of the season was snowed out in Cleveland.
Yes.
And that was not easy to make up for the Indians.
Well, that happened to me one time as a player. We were opening in Chicago as a member of the Boston Red Sox. We traveled to Chicago. They had a blizzard, and they immediately canceled the whole series. We came back to Florida to train for those 4 days, and then eventually ended up in Baltimore to open the season 4 or 5 days later.
Well, what'd you do? Did you have workouts? Did you hit in the cage inside? What'd you do?
We simulated games, workouts just like you would have, on a normal spring training day, but also try some simulated games to keep those pitchers' arms in shape, and it was kind of weird.
How'd you do in the simulated games?
I hated simulated games.
Did you keep your batting average? Did you?
No, I never liked hitting against our own pitchers. It was kind of weird to me, and I'm sure they didn't like pitching to us either. So it's I never liked sim games.
Cuevas with 1 down and 1 on after the walk to Shoemaker. The 0-1 pitch to Nieto. Missing there, so 1-1. It's the 8th season of Cueto's professional career, all with the Red Sox. Originally signed as an international free agent at the age of just 17 years old. Now 25 in that 8th season. Last year made it up to Pawtucket for the first time. 2.63 earned run average over 7 starts, so pitched pretty well at AAA. Pitch outside from Cuevas.
Oh, there's a possibility of a hit and run on this count. 2 balls, 1 strike, 1 out, working to the bottom of the batting order. They could get the man in motion at first base and try a little hit and run.
Saw him in the All-Star game last year in the Eastern League. We went up to Hadlock Field last July and called that All-Star game. Cuevas playing in that Eastern League All-Star game. Gets Nieto to chase that. Count goes to 2-2.
Something off speed that time. Looked like maybe the changeup, and way out in front was Nieto.
Hanley Ramirez holding the runner on as Cuevas delivers. Down in the dirt. The throw to first. Shoemaker gets back in there, but Hanley Ramirez all over it, Jerry.
Well, as I said earlier, any play he makes is a positive thing. I mean, for him. And that ball is going to be off to his left side. He told me that the ball that gives him the most problems on throws are the balls that are on his left side, although that one, as he spun around, was able to catch it in front of him. But he said for some odd reason, the throws coming from the infield is the one that kind of tail back to his left side are the ones that give him the most problem. They're like hard sinkers.
Swing and a miss. Second strikeout for Cuevas. 2 down here in the 4th. Red Sox season ticket holders experience the best seats, price, and benefits Fenway Park has to offer. For information on becoming a season ticket holder, please visit redsox.com/season tickets or call 877-RED-SOX-9 today. It'll bring us back to the top of the order. Miguel Rojas coming up with 2 down and a man on. Jerry, if you're watching at home and we're watching here in the booth, you definitely want to stay here when we go to break after the top of the 4th as Rojas slices that one foul. Very exciting. We'll be unveiling the newest Nesson promo starring myself, Brock Holt, and Wally.
Really?
Major production down here in Fort Myers.
Oh, they've been keeping this a secret from me.
They have been, and we've been trying to, Hollywood, when they come out, like when they came out with the trailer for Star Wars, people were on the black market. We're trying to find new videos, so it's been kept under wraps. They've done a very nice job. But Brock Holt has an acting career in his future. As Rojas gets out ahead of that one, so he's fouled one off to each side. Brock Holt was tremendous acting talent.
Well, he looks like Matt Damon, right?
He does.
I mean, he's got acting in his blood, so we'll see how this goes, but I'm looking forward to this. I didn't know about it. It's been top secret at Nesson. It's been
the greatest minds at Nesson have been under that. That's why I was back north. They flew me back north so that I could be part of the creative process, and actually, I had nothing to do with the creative process of it. Once I was done, they never let me see it again until it was finished. Off the bat for a foul ball there. The cameo from Wally is impressive. He could be, a supporting actor type nominee. He has a lot of people around him, and an entourage. Wally, you can't just get him to do something.
No, he just doesn't do things by himself anymore. I mean, there was a day when he had no friends, and now he has an entourage.
I hope he remembers you. You were a big part of the branding of the image.
That's true. That's very true to see.
That one's outside as Rojas lets it go. I mean, Brock and I just kind of showed up, and nobody but, there were people helping Wally. And in the...
Did he have his own trailer?
I don't know. I didn't have a trailer, so maybe he did.
No.
There was a trailer back there, and it wasn't for me, so maybe it was Wally's. Tessie didn't make it, the new mascot. She was not part of that. Foul ball there.
No, you got to get some time in before you make a commercial. I mean, you just don't. Show up in Fort Myers.
Brock had to make an all-star game just to be in a commercial with
Exactly. You just don't show up here, as Tessie, and all of a sudden, you're bombarded with commercials. I mean, it doesn't work that way. You've got to earn your keep. And, I'm sure there'll be the spots for her as time goes on. But, Wally's the man.
He is the man. No question about that. He does not do the Wally wave in the commercial, though.
Thank goodness.
A little disappointed by that. I knew you would be. Rojas has fouled a couple off here, 1 and 2. But again, that spot coming up here between the top and the bottom of the 4th inning. You want to stay with us for that. Rojas fouls that one off. Hanley Ramirez gets over to it, and he makes the catch to end the inning. So, one walk, no runs, no hits, as Cuevas gets through the inning, and we head to break with the world premiere of the new NESN spot featuring Brock Holt.
Hey.
NESN Clubhouse, 5-0 to score as the Marlins coming up with 5 runs in the top of the third. Now the Red Sox coming to bat in the bottom of the fourth. NESN Clubhouse is back for its 3rd season. Don't miss the show Sundays on NESN. 90 minutes before the first pitch of every Red Sox game on Sunday. Visit NESNClubhouse.com for cool games and to learn more about the show. Hope you enjoyed the spot with Brock Holt. You didn't get to see it.
I didn't see it.
Yeah. A lot of meetings go on up here in the booth. We got preparation. I know you're laser focused on the game. I'll show it to you later.
Okay.
I carry a copy.
Do you have it on video?
I do it all times.
That's good.
I walk around showing people. Nefi Ogando will come in after 3 innings of work for Narveson. Didn't give up a run. Gave up the 4 hits. That double play he induced from David Ortiz, big one for his line today. Ogando, the 26-year-old right-hander, made his major league debut last season. There's Tessie. So she's shaking it off that she's not in the commercial. Doesn't seem to be affecting her work today. As it'll be Bogarts grounding to third base, first out of the game. I think we have an excerpt. Here's an excerpt, Jerry.
Look at you.
So, yeah. And if you just saw the ad with us, the whole idea is Brock Holt is trying some new slogans this season for NESN. And honestly, Jerry, none of them are any good. So that's basically the whole idea. He just keeps bothering me with more and more ideas for NESN's slogan this year. And the funny thing is, I don't know what NESN's slogan is. So at the end of all that, it finishes and it says, you know, your slogan here. Yeah. Hanley Ramirez gets into that one, and it is long gone. First spring training home run for Hanley Ramirez, up and over everything. And the Red Sox get their first run of the game.
Now that was a no-doubter. I mean, you could hear contact and you knew it was hit hard someplace, and that ball goes a long, long way. Hanley is so strong. Let's see the location of the pitch. Oh, right in his wheelhouse, and it looked like he was looking for something inside because you could see the front shoulder leave a little soon. He was looking to pull the ball, and he just completely loses it.
First ball swinging, Sandoval grounds it to Andino at second base, and he is retired. So Sandoval, who had the double back in the second inning, grounds out here. But what a shot from Hanley Ramirez. All smiles in the dugout as he hits his first Grapefruit League home run. thing landed in Naples.
Yeah, that was a long one. That's one of the ones you kind of see in batting practice, but you got a little extra with the velocity of the pitcher right now, and that ball carried a long, long way for Ramirez.
Going to bring up Chris Young with 2 down. By the way, our friend Wally taking to Twitter saying he will never forget all the support Jerry Remy gave him early in his career.
You know, I have with me the original Wally. This Wally goes back, I don't know how many years, when they first started Wally the Beanbag. I got
back into the screen.
I got one, and of course, you know.
I remember when they first came out. It was probably 2000, 2001, somewhere in there, and maybe even 99.
This is the original. I mean, this has gone with me everywhere on the road. It's got signed in the back.
It's got Jerry's autograph.
The shirt's dirty. The pants are all worn out. I mean,
it looks like it's been a long season.
Oh, it's been through. You wouldn't believe what this thing has been through over the years.
Yeah.
The beans are all, like his head doesn't stay down or up anymore. It's just a total mess. But this is it. This is the original Wally.
I can't believe you still have the original one.
No, I carry him everywhere I go in my bag.
Chopper from Young, fielded there by Rojas across the diamond for the final out of the inning. So Hanley Ramirez gets one on the board with one of the longest home runs we've seen yet at spring training. The Red Sox head to the 5th, down 5-1. It's a 5-1 game now in the top of the 5th inning. Jordan's Furniture, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. Right now, get up to 60 months with no interest on anything at Jordan's Furniture. Furnish one room or your entire home. And best of all, you get to enjoy it now. Visit Jordans.com for details. 4th pitch of the game for the Red Sox. Craig Kimbrell will come in here to begin the 5th inning. Kimbrell, of course, the new closer for the Red Sox. Acquired in the offseason in a 5-player deal. Red Sox sending 4 good minor league prospects to San Diego to get Kimbrell. And all they want Kimbrell to do is just keep doing what he has been doing over the course of his career. 1.63 career ERA, the best in Major League history for a reliever with 250 or more appearances. A good effort there by Ramirez, who just runs out of real estate.
Yeah, Kimbrell, the kind of guy that's got a good fastball, good breaking ball. Everything seems to be hard, the fastball, breaking ball, and pretty much a power pitcher, a guy that can come in the end of the game and get strikeouts. And very, very successful in the National League, and the Red Sox hope to bring that to them this season here in the American League. See the numbers in his Major League career for 6 seasons. 563 strikeouts and 348 in the 3rd innings. That's a lot of punch-outs.
224 saves over the last 5 seasons, Jerry. That's the most in Major League Baseball. Second most, Houston Street, 166. So he's about 60 ahead of the next most successful closer in that stretch.
That's the hard breaking ball we were talking about right there. And that's the one that made your back bend a little bit right there as he threw it directly at Andino, and it ended up a little bit inside.
2-1 the count to Andino. Andino 1 for 2 on the day. Tries to hold up on that, and he can't. They check with the first base umpire, and he is indicating the strike. So 2-2 the count. Kimbrel, an intimidating presence on the mound, though, Jerry. Even the way he kind of leans forward. Looks like he's going to come running in at you any moment if you're the hitter.
Yeah, and he's not a very big guy. You know, he's not very tall. Last fastball at 96 miles an hour.
Gets the outside corner for the called third strike to begin the inning.
There's the fastball again from Kimbrel, and this time again 96 miles an hour to the outside part of the plate. So pretty much an unhittable pitch right there. I mean, if you swing and make contact, you're probably going to foul that ball off.
Martin Prado now. Grounded into a double play in the first inning, walked, and ultimately came in on the 3-run homer for Xavier Scruggs. That was in the third inning. A 5-run third inning, 3 walks and a 2-run double allowed by Owens before he was relieved by Jorge Marbon. Marbon, a first pitch 3-run homer given up. Xavier Scruggs. Chopper to third. Bogarts coming across, makes the play, gets it to Ramirez in time, the second out of the inning. Well, we talk about the bullpen, Jerry, and it is a game now dominated by great bullpens, right? We saw Kansas City ride the strength of a bullpen to a world championship. You saw the Yankees add Aroldis Chapman. The Red Sox believe with these 4 guys, Kimbrel at the back end, Koji now slated to the 8th inning, Carson Smith, Junichi Tazawa giving them more options to get to Kimbrel. Do you like what you see here?
Yeah, they all have different styles, too. You know, Carson Smith with that hard sinker and a hard slider. You got Junichi Tazawa with that split-fingered fastball. The Koji, you know, who can fool you with the fastball incredibly at about 88 miles an hour along with his split-fingered fastball. And then you got Kimbrel after that with the very live fastball and hard breaking ball. So, you know, completely different styles coming out of that Red Sox bullpen.
I think the most exciting thing, Jerry, that the Red Sox believe now they'll be able to back off Junichi Tazawa. He's been that great glass in case of emergency guy that they throw in any time, and by everyone's admission, they've had to overuse him over the last 3 seasons.
They did, and it was a wise thing to shut him down, I thought, at the end of last season. Red Sox were going nowhere, obviously. He had so many innings put in the last couple of years, so many pitches made, that they gave him some extra time. And we'll see if that pays dividends for him coming, you know, when the regular season starts. It should.
By the way, a little bit of news on the relief front. John Farrell telling us earlier today that Carson Smith suffering some back spasms, so he will not throw until he's had a chance to throw off the mound. They'll set him back a couple of days. Plenty of time for the reliever to be ready to go for the start of the season as Kimbrel coming in with a fastball, 96 miles an hour, just missing, so it's a 3-1 count. Yeah, Smith's got that wipeout slider, kind of a 3-quarter delivery, like you said. Koji's got the disappearing split finger that he can use to offset the fastball, and Kimbrel just comes at you. Swing and a miss there. Again, 96 miles an hour. Each of the last 4 years, Jerry, Kimbrel's velocity, his average fastball velocity, has increased. He's throwing harder now than he did 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's incredible. You know, and look at that. It's a little bit like Rob Beck, isn't it? Without the arm moving back and forth.
Dietrich fouls it off. Dietrich had the big 2-run double with 2 outs in the 3rd inning to begin the scoring today. Kimbrel spent 1 year with San Diego before the Padres traded him to the Red Sox. Had a great run with the Atlanta Braves. Prior to that, Kimbrel delivers. He hits him. So tried to come inside, came inside a little too much with 2 outs. Dietrich heads to first base. If you missed this morning's episode of Dining Playbook, you can catch the encore presentation tomorrow at 4 on NESN. Big Papi, David Ortiz, talks about his favorite restaurants in Boston and what he's had to stop eating as he gets older. Catch the encore presentation of Dining Playbook tomorrow at 4 on NESN. What have you stopped eating as you've gotten older, Jerry?
I'm actually eating everything I've always ate, except I'm eating less of it.
You're eating half of everything you used to.
Half.
Yeah. That one cue ball kind of hops over the line and goes foul. But, yeah, you've lost some weight in the offseason. You came back in game shape, ready to go.
You know, I went to the doctor, TC, to get a physical back in November, and I got on the scale, and I went, wow, this is not right. This was like 192. And I said, something has to be done. Now, I didn't know what to do. So the doctor said, look, the less calories you take in, you know, you're going to lose weight. And that's how I decided to go on this half diet, this half portion diet. And I've lost now close to 20 pounds. So
how about that?
It came off pretty easy.
So you're saying there seems to be, we got the pinch runner here, Tommy Medica, coming in for Derek Dietrich. So you're saying there seems to be a correlation between calorie intake and weight?
Yeah.
Not sure if this has gone public yet. Ball to second base, and that'll retire the inning. So the one-hit batter for Kimbrel. Other than that, no problem. We head to the bottom of the fifth in a 5-1 game.
Welcome back to JetBlue Park. I'm Garen Austin. TC, Jerry, as you guys mentioned at the top of the game, the Marlins have a new hitting coach, Barry Bonds. I was talking with him before the game about David Ortiz retiring, you guys, and he said, I'm not ready for him to quit. He was joking with me and said, why is he retiring? He is still productive. And then he said, you know what? Ortiz can do whatever he wants in retirement. He has certainly deserved that. And when I asked him about how his retirement's going, he said he is really, really enjoying his new position.
Garen, thanks very much. Yeah, it's kind of strange to see Barry Bonds back in a uniform, and I think a lot of people were surprised that after a controversial career, to say the least, that he would want to get back into the game. But, you know, Jerry, we saw Mark McGwire kind of jump back in with the Cardinals, and after the initial round of interviews, you know, every new city, they're going to want to talk to you about it, but McGwire's sort of been able to blend back in and get back to baseball. As this is a fly ball here to right field. It is up, and it is caught there by Gillespie. So David Murphy gave it a ride, but Gillespie up against the wall, able to make the catch.
Well, Bonds now the hitting coach, obviously, of the Miami Marlins, and you know, you're not judged because you're just Barry Bonds. You're judged on how you coach. And sometimes some of the best players that have ever played the game do not turn into good coaches because they expect everybody to be like them. So it takes a certain guy, you know, to be able to take yourself actually to a lower level with most of the people that you're working with and be able to relate to them on a one-on-one personality basis. And that's what Bonds is going to have to do because, you know, not many players can play like Barry Bonds did.
And you wonder here, as Sandy Leone steps in against Dustin McGowan with one down, you wonder if Bonds would have been able to make this transition had he not been humbled by what he's been through. And certainly what he's been through was self-induced.
Right.
There's no pity for him. That said, he comes into this now looking to try to reclaim his place in the game a little bit, and I'm not sure if he'd have been able to go straight into this from his playing days.
No, I agree with you. I think it was wise for him to take some time off. I always admire great players who try to get back in the game for the right reasons, and I think Bonds is doing that.
Leon with a flare, Rojas up to make the catch.
You know, I think he's got obviously a tremendous amount of knowledge that he can relay to especially young players. But again, it's how you transition from a great player to a coach, and whether you're able to communicate all that information that you do have to younger players.
Does it become a distraction, though, in the early going? Because every time he rolls into a city, when he rolls into New York to face the Mets, the media is going to be all over Barry Bonds.
I really don't think so. He's a coach. I mean, let's face it, and I'm not degrading coaches by any means, but, the focus becomes on Bonds as a coach. He does his little thing with the media, and then the players are actually left by themselves to do what they have to do. So
there's Castillo sending one to right center field. A diving grab by Maxwell. Terrific catch to end the fifth. A 1-2-3 inning for Dustin McGowan. And the Red Sox trail 5-1 after 5 innings. Full extension there for Maxwell on the catch. Marlins leading the Red Sox here in the 6th inning. In 2016, every Tuesday is Take-Home Tuesday at Fenway Park. First 15,000 fans in attendance receive one of this season's great giveaway items, like an Ortiz 500 necklace, a Mookie Betts bobblehead, and even a pet rock. For tickets and more information, visit redsox.com/promos. New pitcher for the Red Sox, Koji Uehara, making his first appearance of the spring. Of course, had the injury to end the season early last year. 2.23 earned run average, couple of wins in there as well. So Koji now beginning his new role with the Red Sox as the 8th inning setup guy.
Yeah, he's only had a couple of simulation games that he's thrown in. Ryan Lamar is taking over in center field for Rusney Castillo. First substitution of the day for the Red Sox.
And first pitch swinging here. Gillespie with a base hit back up the middle. So first pitch thrown by Koji here. Grapefruit League plays base hit.
First pitch fastball for Gillespie. Not waiting around for that split-fingered fastball. Why wait?
Koji will turn 41 just before opening day. His 4th year with the Red Sox now. 8th year in Major League Baseball. All of that after a 10-year Japanese career. Again, last season, the non-displaced distal radius fracture, broken wrist to you and me. So tried to play that comebacker.
The other one sounds better, though. It sounds like there's more wrong, right?
And here it is. It sounds like I have a doctor's degree when you talk about displaced radius. Saw that on August 7th as that was the end of the season. It's a strange game. Came in with a 7-2 lead at the bottom of the ninth. One out, the bases loaded. It was Ian Kinsler with a line drive back up off him. By the way, we've got a pinch runner at first base. That'll be Destin Hood coming in for Gillespie. Gillespie 1 for 3 on the day. And Justin Maxwell at the plate. Is there an advantage that your relievers come in with different looks? That you have, you know, a Koji versus a Kimbrel who's going to come in after him and look that much? Does that help this bullpen because they are so different?
Well, you know, a lot of times when these guys come in, they're only going to see 3 hitters or 4 hitters. They're not going to go twice through the rotation, so through the batting order, I should say. So, you know, I don't know how much of an advantage it is, but, you know, you're certainly going to see different styles.
Foul ball down the third base line. I mean, you could be in a situation with this team where you see a knuckleballer in the 6th, a three-quarter slider type guy from Smith in the 7th, Koji or Junichi, you know, 2 very different guys. The hard fastball from Tazawa, and then Kimbrel in the 9th.
You know, to me, the guy to watch really in this revamped bullpen is Carson Smith. I have been so impressed with him from what I saw last year in Seattle and the little bit we've seen of him here in spring training.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Koji rings up Maxwell. First strikeout for Uehara.
Well, the Red Sox have their fair share of strikeouts in the game today. It looks like Koji goes with the fastball right here and throws it by him. That fastball, again, probably about 87 miles an hour for Uehara. But you get to look at, you know, you're thinking down about that split-fingered fastball, and that's why you can get away with that fastball up in the strike zone a lot of times.
They talk about Smith last year, 92 strikeouts in 70 innings for Seattle. And that's really what this game has become, Jerry. It's not just a matter of good bullpens. It's swing and miss stuff coming at you in the 7th and 8th and 9th.
Well, the old saying in baseball, let's get to the bullpen. You know, that's not really the case anymore because they got some incredible arms coming out of the bullpen. I mean, almost every guy that comes out of there, you're talking about, you know, 95 miles an hour, 90 plus, 95. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Hey, you know, talking to John Farrell last week about that, do you manage differently now against the Yankees or Kansas City, a team that, if you don't have a lead by the 7th inning, you're hard-pressed to get anything done against that team. And while he didn't say they would do anything different, you might see teams play a little small ball early in the game against those teams. Try to get that one run in there because you know that your run expectation is going to go down as the innings progress.
I would agree. You know, I think that, you know, you'll see infielders in a lot early in ball games trying to cut down the runs. You see the Yankees bullpen, of course, of Andrew Miller, Betances, and Chapman, and that's quite the combination.
Chopped at it, and he gets it through the hole on the right side. Hood was running, and so that opened up the hole on the right, and Shoemaker took advantage of it by sending that one through.
Yeah, I know what happened to Hood on that. I mean, he's off on the pitch, and they're playing hit and run. It was perfectly executed by Shoemaker as he hits that little dribble between first and second. Now, let's see if he was deked at second base by either Pedroia or Xander Bogaerts, and it looked like to me, now did Dustin point to the sky like it was a fly ball? See, if you're running to second base and you're not turning to look at contact, you can be deked, and I believe that time Pedroia put his hand up like the ball was in the air, and that kept the runner from going to third base. So if that's the case, that's a very smart play by Dustin.
Yeah, he pointed up at something. I don't know what it was, so that's clearly he's trying to deke the runner into thinking it was a high pop.
You see, your job on a hit and run, if you're a runner. Now, watch Pedroia. He goes over to cover second base. The hitter doesn't know where the baseball is, so he points up. It's in the air. That means I got to go back. And he doesn't know what to do. He's rounding around second base before he even gets to the bat. So good job by Pedroia there.
So first and second with one out here in the sixth inning. Third at-bat of the game for Nieto, the catcher, 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. He also struck out in the fourth inning. Fifth pitcher of the game here for the Red Sox. Koji deals. Fouled off to the third base side.
And that's the kind of stuff I love. You know, guys are really in the game when they're doing things like that, like we just saw. And the runner, you know, he did not look back in time to see contact. If you do so, you know where the ball's hit, so you should never be deked like that. But he had no idea where the baseball was, so the next thing you do is you pick up one of the infielders. And when you pick up an infielder, that's exactly what the infielder wants you to do, because then he can point to the sky, fly ball. He can, you know, say, you can make a safe sound like it was a foul ball. And that just messes everybody right up.
Two and two the count now to Nieto as Koji delivers, and he gets the outside corner for the call, third strike.
Looks like the split-fingered fastball from Koji to pick up the strikeout. A high one it is, but it's still effective as it was off-speed enough to fool him. So 2 strikeouts, 1 on the fastball, 1 on the split of this inning for Uehara.
14 pitches. And Rojas will come up for the fourth time, looking for his first hit of the game. It's called first strike. Red Sox will be up in Port Charlotte tomorrow.
And so will you and I.
So will you and I on Nesson.
Yes, we are leaving at 8 o'clock. Be there.
Yes, I will be sending pictures of the Traveling Roadshow on Instagram once again. People very upset that I make you drive, Jerry. I was surprised by the backlash. Base hit back off the middle.
You should be upset.
If they only knew. And they try to get him back at second base. But that'll be an RBI single there for Rojas, who sends one back up the middle. Hood, the pinch runner, comes in to score. And it is a 6-1 lead for the Marlins.
Yeah, there was really no chance for Lamar to throw the runner out at home plate, so it's going to be cut off. That's a split-fingered fastball again. Uehara having a difficult time getting it down in the zone. That's not unusual for the first time out there. Here's the pickup and throw back in by Lamar. They have no play at home, and Bogart's trying to dive back to make the tag, but not quite in time.
Have a pinch runner for the Marlins. J.T. Riddle. Riddle me this. Pinch runner here in the sixth inning. Yeah, back to the driving thing. People are asking why I make you drive. I try to explain. Jerry has a motor, not the car. You have a motor. I said, Jerry would be no good sitting in the passenger seat doing nothing for 2 hours. I, on the other hand, I'm more than happy to sit there and, you know, get on social media, look out the window. But I've always taken you as a guy who's kind of got to be doing something. You don't like sitting around.
No, that's true. I don't. I enjoy driving, but, you know, I think tomorrow I'll let you drive. It's about an hour drive.
I'm talking my way, but you're going to navigate. You've already told me you have a tough time finding the ballpark.
I do. For some reason, I do. I don't know why.
Little number back, stays fair, and Koji gets out of the inning, but 1 run on 3 hits. And the Red Sox trail 6-1, coming up the bat in the bottom of the 6th. Marlins now with a 6-1 lead. Red Sox coming up in the bottom of the 6th. Step up your hockey game with Bruins Academy, an all-new TV show created just for kids who love hockey. Tune into episode 4 today at 4 o'clock on NESN. And to watch previous episodes, visit bostonbruins.com/Bruins Academy. New pitcher for the Miami Marlins, old friend Craig Breslow on the mound. Breslow trying to catch on as a lefty out of the bullpen for Don Mattingly's team. After spending the last few seasons with the Red Sox, of course, being such an important part of the 2013 World Championship team, now moving on and trying to make his mark in the National League.
Yeah, 45 appearances last year for the Red Sox, a couple of starts and one save, a 0-4 record. He's making his 3rd appearance this year in spring training for the Marlins.
This past week, threw perfect innings against the Nationals with a couple of strikeouts, the Yankees with a strikeout there. Will always be remembered for that 2013 season. 61 appearances, 5-2 with a 1.81 earned run average. He faces Pedroia to start this 6th inning. Pedroia with a hit and a walk today. Breslow delivers. It's Pedroia to chase. 2-1 the count. Wholesale changes in the Marlins lineup that we'll get to in a moment as Breslow delivers. Pedroia skies one up in the seats and right, first base side. Tellis now behind the plate. Medica stays in there. Nola and Riddle, the middle of the infield. Kelly at third. Galloway, Wilson, and Hood, your outfield. And Breslow, your pitcher. Pedroia slices that one to right field. The new right fielder, Hood, gets under it, and he makes the catch from first out of the inning.
I'd like to go back to that defense again because I didn't get the left fielder and center fielder.
I'll give you Galloway in left field.
Okay.
And Hood in right. There she is. We just got these. This is terrific. Well done. Thank you, because we had no idea who was in the outfield.
And Wilson in center field.
Wilson is now in center field.
That is wholesale changes right there.
David Ortiz steps up for his 3rd at-bat of the afternoon. He is grounded into a pair of double plays here in the 3rd inning. Bases loaded, 1 out. 4-6-3 double play ended that inning. Nobody on for Big Papi here as he faces Breslow. Pops this one up, third base side. Coming out from the shift to make the catch there was Don Kelly, and now we've got 2 outs in the inning. Enjoy an afternoon at the ballpark as a group of 20 or more senior outing tickets start at only $22. Call 877 Red Sox 9 for more information. I'm still writing these changes in. Figure it out sooner or later.
It's that time of the game, the fog of spring training.
A lot of guys in the 70s and 80s coming to town. Only trip over to the Gulf Coast for the Marlins this season. The Red Sox will head over there to play on March 22nd at Roger Dean Stadium. Tom Karen, Jerry Remy, Garen Austin with you here at JetBlue Park in Fort Myers, Florida, where the Red Sox trail 6-1. Bogarts chasing after that one. 2-1 the count now.
Ed Xander sitting on a fastball on that 2-0 count, did not get it. Got a change up from Breslow and a little bit of an off-balance swing that time.
Slicing that one back behind. Count now goes to 2-2. Nesson has a brand new site for car enthusiasts. Nesson Fuel, your new home for everything automotive, including exclusive driver interviews, race recaps, and a whole lot more. Visit NessonFuel.com. Follow Nesson Fuel on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram today. The 2-2 from Breslow. Bogarts gets a piece of it to stay alive. Marlins bullpen. There's a little extra opening in it now. They got the bad news last week. Carter Capps, who would have been the closer, Tommy John surgery, out for the season. A.J. Ramos will most likely slide into that closer role, but that's why we talk about competition. Some teams come into camp. You talk about the Red Sox staff by and large being figured out. But, you know, you mentioned Eduardo Rodriguez earlier. I think you're already at the point. He will not be ready to start the season. He's not even throwing off a mound at this point. He's doing what they call dry throws. There's no baseball. He hasn't thrown a ball yet. You got to do that a little bit before you can get in the game.
Yeah, he's been working. The only thing he's done off a mound are those dry throws, as you mentioned, TC. He's been playing catch at about 90 feet on flat ground. So he's got an awful lot of work to do to be ready for the season.
Ground ball, diving stab for Kelly, but he can't get it across in time, and Bogarts beat it out for an infield single.
That was a nice try by Kelly down that third base line, but Bogarts with too much speed going to first to able to beat that out for the base hit, stay away from the 1-2-3 inning, and that's going to be the afternoon for Xander. This is Pedro Martinez working with Rodriguez on the mound this just a couple of days ago. And you can see right there using the towel, no baseball. Pedro very, very involved with the players that stay back, that don't go on the road trip. Of course, the pitching coach, Kyle Willis, goes on the trip to watch the pitches in the game. And there are generally a couple of pitching coaches that stay back. So Pedro's got some great stuff. He really does. And, you know, all the pitching coaches work very, very hard down here. And a lot of times, you know, you don't see this stuff because this goes on in the backfield, and it's pretty educational. I got to tell you, I had a chance to sit in the other day with Pedro and Elias, who was throwing, and it was quite interesting for me, you know, to listen to what Pedro had to say. Very brilliant, you know, in what he's teaching the young players. And the Red Sox very fortunate to have very good pitching instructors.
And Pedro has certainly taken to it. We've seen over time where legendary players are brought back to be around, and sometimes that's all they do is come hang around.
Yeah, they come as monuments, you know, but he comes as a worker.
Hanley Ramirez absolutely crushed a home run in his last at-bat. 1-2 the count here. Devin Marrero pinch running for Xander Bogarts now, so Marrero will take over at shortstop. Hanley now hitting .249, as you can see. Actually, those are last year's numbers, .249 last season. And such a great start for Hanley. Ground ball, rather, the third base side. A good play for Kelly, who gets up and just able to get the throw to beat Marrero to end the inning. Crowd wants replay. You're not going to get it in spring trading. We're going to take a break. The Red Sox
Sundays.
Heading to the 7th here at JetBlue Park in Fort Myers. Marlins leading the Red Sox by a 6-1 score. Tonight at 10 on NESN Sports Today. It's a big hockey night in Boston. The Bruins hosting the Islanders. Last check, they were leading 2-1. We'll have the highlights and reaction from TD Garden. Plus, get the latest on the Sox right here in Fort Myers. It's NESN Sports Today, and it's presented by People's United Bank. See what know-how can do. We got all kinds of changes on the Red Sox side here as well, including a new pitcher, Junichi Tazawa. Step in and takes over after the inning of work for Koji Uehara. Tazawa, 8th year in the organization now, Jerry. He's as we said, has been used as much as anybody in baseball. 203 appearances since 2013. That is 6th most in the American League. Able to shut him down early, as you pointed out last season, and maybe get him in a better place of rest coming into 2060.
Yeah, basically what the Red Sox did was give him an extra month off in the offseason by giving him basically all of September off, and got a chance to save some bullets.
Ground ball, the new first baseman, Sam Travis, will field it. And we've got one down here in the 7th. Let's take a look at the new defensive alignment for the Red Sox. As you've got Hernandez at second base, Marrero stays in as the shortstop, Travis Shaw at third, Sam Travis at first. Don't get that confused. Brent's in left field, taking over there for... was there. David Murphy was there. Lamar and Young both staying out there as well. One down, nobody on for Tazawa. Tazawa now will face Tommy Medica, who came in as a pinch runner in the 5th inning and then stayed in there.
That curveball that he threw, he did that a lot last year, where he'd start his first pitch off as a breaking ball to try to get a strike and then go back to that fastball or splitter.
That one down in the dirt, handled by Butler, the new catcher. I think I may have failed to mention him in the changes. Dan Butler behind the plate. Foul ball down the first base line there. Hair loss expert Dr. Robert Leonard has helped me and so many other men regain their youthful appearance. Don't procrastinate. Treat your thinning hair today with a complimentary consultation at Leonard Hair Transplant Associates. Call 1-800-GET-HAIR to learn more.
You know, staying on the hair thing for a second, TC.
Yes.
You did it at the right time of life. You know, you're still a young man. And it hadn't become obvious that you were completely losing your hair, and
right.
you filled in the gaps. You know, when you get to be my age, obviously, if I did something like that, I look like a fool. I'd come back.
Saying you're a lost cause.
Yeah, like one of the
Beatles.
Beatles. You know. So I mean.
Yeah, you don't want to go from basically nothing to showing up with a full head of hair.
Exactly. So you got to pick the right time in life to
fill
do
in.
that.
You know, you do it when you're, like you said, it wasn't. You know, I knew it.
You knew it,
and other people knew it, but. It wasn't obvious to everybody.
Exactly.
Right.
It was perfect timing.
Ground ball to short there. Marrero up across the diamond for the out. That's like, you know, we all know guys who've gone a little gray and then they call it, but you don't want to go from the Silver Fox, totally gray, one day coming in.
I've done it. I did it.
I'm trying to be nice. I don't want to bring you into it.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. I tried to look younger, you know, because of TV, and I darkened my hair, my mustache, all that stuff, and you used to have to do it every couple of weeks. And I said, forget about it.
That's a lot of work.
It was terrible.
And you got to match the mustache to the hair. You can't go orange up top. And
I still to this day see pictures of it, and it makes me, I laugh at myself. You know, what are you thinking about? What are you doing? You know? Act your age.
I just want to act my age with a little more hair, that's all.
Yeah, but you did it at the right time.
Yeah, you're right. Did it at the right time. It has not been a hair-raising game today as the Marlins put their 5 runs up in the 3rd inning. That has been the story here as Tazawa tries to get through a perfect 7th inning. Facing Galloway here. Galloway came in for Scruggs. Scruggs had a big 3-run home run in the 3rd inning. Sox got their low run on a Hanley Ramirez home run, his first of the spring. Swing and a miss there. 2-1 the count. Tazawa will be a free agent at the end of the season. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Told reporters back at the beginning of the camp that he still feels loyalty to the organization. Remember, he had that Tommy John surgery before he really established himself. He felt the team stood by him. By all accounts, he wants to stay as he evens up the count of 2-2 here.
Now, that will determine, obviously, the dollars and also, how that workload has affected him throughout the years and what type of year he has this year, how the rest of the bullpen shakes out.
The 2-2 from Tazawa. Galloway fouls it off, keeps it going. You think about guys over the years, and I always go back to 10 years ago or so when Joe Torre would use Paul Quantrill and Scott Proctor, the Yankees, 60-plus times a year.
Yep.
And there comes a time where it's just done.
It's just done.
You've used up that arm.
It's done very, very quickly, and that's why they're so careful now with the days off and getting them certain after a couple of appearances, depending on how hard they are, that 3rd day off out of the bullpen. No work tonight.
Full count now to Galloway.
Because bullpens have become so valuable in the game of baseball, you've really got to protect them like you protect your starting pitchers.
The 3-2 pitch from Tazawa. Galloway fouls it off again. I had a battle for that foul ball in the stands. Somebody skinned a knee diving for it. Guy's doing a victory lap with the ball, just running up the aisle. There he is. I don't know how he got. He's like 6 sections away from where he's sitting.
He must have been coming back from someplace.
Or he had a great first step. Ground ball to 3rd base. Up and across in time. The throw from Shaw. Not in time as Travis looked like he had to come off the bag there to get it.
And that really there is just underestimating the speed of the base runner. And I think you can see right here is the extra couple of steps to shuffle right there. And, it's like one too many. And all of a sudden, you got to rush that ball to first base. That's great hustle by Galloway getting down the first base line. Running hard the whole way. That's what you're supposed to do. And he ends up getting the bonus, picking up the base hit because of his hustle. So I think the speed of Galloway kind of surprised Travis Shaw a little bit at 3rd base.
So the inning continues on the infield single, and you almost could see it in Shaw's face, couldn't you, on that second shuttle, second stutter step before he threw? He could almost realize, oh boy, he's getting up that line quickly.
Yeah, it's he went into like almost 3 shuffles toward first base, and that was one too many.
Almost get that ball. They continue to play Travis Shaw at 3rd base, which is something we've been watching over the course of the spring. Clearly a guy who's going to get opportunities at both corners of the infield. If he makes this team, he's going to have to be able to spell both Sandoval and Ramirez to get some at-bats over the course of the year. Of course, Brock Holt can play all those positions as well as the outfield positions. Just think about the makeup of the bench going into the season. Chris Young going to be your 4th outfielder, or one of the 4 outfielders who plays. You assume Brock Holt is going to be there to play everywhere once again. Got a backup catcher. It only leaves you probably one more spot. going to go with 12 pitchers.
I really think Travis Shaw is going to have that spot. I really do, because of his versatility between first and third, his ability to hit, as he proved last year and again this spring.
Tazawa checks the runner over at first. 1-1 the count to Hood.
I think Galloway at first base would love to try to steal second base and get into scoring position here with 2 outs. Trying to maximize his lead, get as much as he possibly can.
Again, Tazawa keeping him back. Thinking the same thing you are. Fly ball left field. Over there to make the catch and end the inning is Bryce Bruns, and the Red Sox strand the 1 runner. Six to 1 Marlins lead as we head to the bottom of the 7th. The Red Sox try to get something going here against Craig Breslow. Red Sox spring training baseball is live with the MLB.com @BAT app. Stay connected all spring with radio broadcasts, highlights, stats, and more. Download MLB.com @BAT, the #1 app for live baseball on your smartphone or tablet today. Bottom of the 7th, Red Sox trying to get something going, and Breslow comes back out for another inning. Travis Shaw leading off the 7th inning for the Red Sox. Shaw hitting .471 here in spring training, and he'll add to that here with base hit to right field. Red Sox have their leadoff runner on here in the 7th.
That's one of the things that impresses me about Shaw. You know, right-hander, left-hander, doesn't matter. He can take that pitch that's away from him and still be able to hook that ball. Watch the plate coverage here by Shaw. They want to go away from him. They're set up away, but he's able to go down there with it and able to hook it and find that hole between first and second base. So he pulled that ball. That's a nice piece of hitting.
Is it a nice piece of hitting, though?
It is.
It wasn't opposite field.
No, but it was. He went out and got a pitch that was away from him and was able to hook it for the base hit.
All right, the rare pulled nice piece of hitting. This is a long fly ball up and gone. Chris Young, his first home run of the spring, and the Red Sox have cut the lead in half here at JetBlue Park.
Well, right on time. You know, right on time. We talked about Young in the open and the power that he can produce for the Red Sox in the outfield spots that he can mix up, whether it be left field, center field, right field. Here he shows you a power against the left-hander. We told you the numbers in the open. career batting average of about 345 against lefties, and that time he takes Breslow deep.
Last year, a .572 slugging percentage against lefties. It was the 6th best in the American League. There's a reason Jerry Remy decides to pick Chris Young to talk about in the Open today. These things don't happen by accident. All right. Got to be lucky and good. We'll bring us Bryce Brents for his first at-bat of the game. Brent's taking over for David Murphy last inning in left field. Last year, just 59 games for Brents. He had that broken thumb in Pawtucket. That the year after he was a September call-up for the Red Sox, you remembered. He was probably on track to get an opportunity to play a little bit last year as an up-and-down guy, but the broken thumb set him back. Even with nearly 100 games missed, he led Pawtucket with 8 homers, or was leading them with 8 homers at the time of the injury. Has shown power throughout his time, was the MVP of the Portland Sea Dogs back in 2012, but called strike 3 there. And Bryce Brents strikes out for the 2nd out of the inning. Jordan's Furniture, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox, right now get up to 60 months with no interest on anything at Jordan's Furniture. Furnish one room or your entire home. Best of all, you'll get to enjoy it now. Visit Jordans.com for details. 2 down now. 2nd out of the inning on the strikeout. Wait, 1 out. Did I say 2 outs before? Yeah, okay. 1 out. Leadoff single for Shaw. The 2-run homer for Young. Breslow able to strike out Brents here. Dan Butler gets his first at-bat of the day. Catcher took over for Sandy Leon last inning. Sox trailed 5-0. A couple of home runs accounting for all the offense today. A monster shot for Hanley Ramirez. And a big 2-run homer just now for Chris Young. Butler drives one to the opposite field. He'll stay up there long enough for Hood to get under it for the 2nd out of the inning. Jerry, some interesting comments over the last few days have fueled a lot of debate in baseball. First, Bryce Harper talking about the game needs to loosen up and let guys enjoy themselves, express themselves. And, of course, the Jose Bautista bat flip last year comes to mind immediately. Bryce Harper saying the game is tired because there are so many players who don't want you to show any of that. And then Goose Gossage weighing in a day later. Certainly, even if he does represent a certain old guard of baseball, he went too far in his comments. Was called into the Yankees front office yesterday to talk. Interesting, though, to see this debate come out because it is a new age. The young players and the Toronto Blue Jays were all wearing T-shirts, Joey flipping bats yesterday, talking about his bat flip. But what'd you think about this whole thing? You have a young player, one of the best in the game, at Bryce Harper. You have Goose Gossage, a Hall of Famer, in there, sort of telling these guys, stop it. There's one way to play the game.
Well, the game has changed, obviously. And you know, guys who have stayed in the game, as I have for now 29 years after I finished playing, I've gone along with the changes. I've seen him develop, as time goes on. Now, there was a time when you hit a home run, you rounded the bases, you almost didn't shake a guy's hand at home plate, and you ran into the dugout. If you did, they felt like the pitches you were being shown up.
Don't show them up.
Would show them up. So the way they would handle that is the next time you get up, you would get drilled. And it was the same thing on plays at second base. If you had a guy come in dirty to you at second base when there were really no rules at all, next time he'd come up, if the situation was right, you would get drilled. So the game is different. There's no question about the game being different, but some of the old-time players have not been able to adjust to the new way that it's being played right now. I think it's a little bit more entertaining now. I think television has had an awful lot to do with that. You know, you see yourself on highlights on SportsCenter or NST. You see that stuff, you know, and it becomes more entertaining. So the game has changed. There's no question about that.
Let me ask you this. The game's demographic is getting older.
Yes.
And the industry of baseball has admitted they have to face the challenge of attracting younger fans.
Yeah.
Doesn't a bat flip, doesn't a celebration resonate more with a young fan?
I have a problem with it. I mean, I still do have a problem with it. But, yes, I think it does. I think it gives the game a little bit more personality than what it had in the past. But you got to realize that, you know, it was played differently back in those days than it is now. Now there is much more acceptable behavior that was unacceptable, you know, in those days.
Cody Edge is the new pitcher for the Marlins facing Ryan Lamar. But it's an interesting discussion because, listen, first and foremost, no matter what you want to allow, there's a time and a place for it, right? The bat flip in the fourth inning when you're down 6-0, you're probably going to take one in the hip later in that game, okay? Yeah. But Joey Bats, Jose Bautista, brings an entire city, maybe a country of Canada to its feet with that home run. Well, it's okay to savor the moment, isn't it?
The other thing, too, is if you're Jose Bautista or you're David Ortiz and you hit 30, 40 home runs a year, you know, I can see where, you know, guys celebrate that. If you're me, who hit 7 in his career, and I go up there and I hit a home run and pimp around the bases, I deserve to be drilled the next time up, you know. But you know, the guys that do it all the time, I get it. I mean, I totally get it. It's not the culture that I played in, but is the culture of the game today. And I've got to think it's for the better.
Called third strike. Lamar will take that third strike to end the inning. So nobody flipping a bat here, but Chris Young driving that one well over the green monster, and the lead for Miami now 6-3. Today's Red Sox spring training game on NESN is brought to you in part by Ace Ticket. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. Back here at JetBlue Park, Fenway South, a new pitcher. It is the 7th of the game of the Red Sox, Kyle Martin, who has pitched well for the Red Sox so far here at spring training. Martin will make his 4th appearance of the season. He has yet to give up an earned run. Got a change out in right field as well. Brennan Bosch takes over for Chris Young. Go out on top, right? Young hits the home run. Take it to the house. It's the way to do it.
Get you running in and take a shower.
Leading off the inning here with Wilson at the plate, center fielder. Take a look at Bosch there in right field. But that discussion over the last couple of days has put the sort of new guard against old guard conversation back into the forefront. And it's interesting, in a sport like hockey where you celebrate every goal, or basketball where there's probably too much of it because there's so much scoring in basketball. Fans back in Boston used to get all over Antoine Walker for doing his wiggle when they were down by 20 in the third quarter, right? So I think knowing when you can is the first step towards doing it.
I would agree with that. I think you got to be very careful to pick your spots, and we had that David Price and David Ortiz situation where, Price felt like Ortiz was showing him up after a home run and then plucked him down around the legs. And that was an exchange of unpleasantries. But it's changed. There's no question the game has changed. And I think some of the old-time players and, guys that I played with have had a difficult time with the change. So, I've been able to watch it day in and day out, so I've gotten more accustomed to it than maybe some others.
The other place Goose Gossage went and got himself in a little bit of hot water was he said something along the lines of nerds who never played the game were taking over the game, and that got him a visit to Brian Cashman's office yesterday. I'm sure some of the Yankees analytics people were not too happy. His word, not mine.
We haven't heard much from Goose, and all of a sudden
we saw him last week in Tampa. He wasn't saying anything.
Exactly.
And so this is Bone now up. One of the players added to the roster, Justin Bone. Throw from Butler, not in time. So after the walk, Wilson able to steal second base.
Well, the Marlins have kept the pressure on all afternoon. They've been running. They've been trying to do things. That throw just a little bit high from Butler, the catcher, and off to the shortstop side by the time Marrero was able to make the play. Safe at second base was, who was it? Wilson?
Wilson.
Yeah. Bone is up now.
Yes. It's a ground ball to short. Gets through Marrero, and that'll allow Wilson to come around to score. 7 runs now on the board for Miami.
Well, there's a case where an infielder actually gets intimidated by a runner. The runner took off on a ball to the left side of the infield, and you can see usually that's a play that you go to third base and get the lead man, but you can see very clearly that right there coming up too soon was Marrero because he was thinking about going to third base. You've got to catch the ball first and then make your move, and that time he started to make his move before getting down low on the baseball, so it goes right through the 5-hole and the run scores.
By the way, talking about, deciding when to celebrate, our great producer-director, Mike Narachi, pointing out that if you saw that incredible UConn basketball game yesterday, after Cincinnati had scored in the, was it the third overtime there? They were all celebrating. There's still time on the clock. UConn winds up getting that tying score and winning in the fourth overtime. Knowing when to celebrate is as important as whether or not you celebrate.
I think I would totally agree with you, TC.
Holy Cross, that made it to the, they won their tournament, heading to the dance next week. But if you saw that game at the end, Lehigh had about 4 shots to win it. And the third shot, after clanging up the rim, one of the Holy Cross players went running across the court to celebrate. They had one more shot, and it almost went in. But it will be interesting as these great young players we're watching, the new crop of players, and Bryce Harper probably at the forefront of that movement, starts to exert itself in this game. Older players will retire, younger players. You have international players who bring different traditions to the game from different countries. when we watch some of those World Classic games, the World Baseball Classic over the years, and there's music playing and flags flying, and some of that's okay. Some of that is a great way to bring into the game.
It was electric, yeah.
Tellis sends that one to right field, way back. Unable to get it there is Bosch. That'll hit off the wall. Throw coming in from second base, but beating the throw and getting in there is Bone. And another run on the board for the Marlins.
Now the Marlins offense has been very impressive in this game today. And they just missed another home run right here. Back to the wall goes Bosch. He has to play it off the wall. By the time he can track it down, you've got a man that's going to score. And a runner into second base with a double is actually Lamar that came all the way from center field to get that. Now, there's a good example right there where you can't block the plate. He had the catcher Butler had to go out in front of the plate to make that catch. He could not stand on the baseline and block it to obstruct that runner. So we've seen a couple examples today. One early in the game with a slide at second base, and that one right there where Butler could not block home plate. That may have cost the Red Sox a run, but maybe not. But it was, was certainly one that a year ago or 2 years ago you would have seen probably blocked. Now
Take a look at Butler here.
Yeah, watch Butler. See how he comes up. He's got to leave a lane there. He can't be in that lane without the baseball in his hand. And once he gets it in and tries that sweep tag, it's too late. So we've seen both examples of rule changes come to play in this game today.
And I think the biggest difference is most middle infielders are going to like the new rule about the takeout slide. Most catchers still don't like this rule.
Right.
Because of that very play, right? You can no longer wait to accept the throw at home plate where you're in position to make the tag. You now have to get out of the way before that ball gets there.
Yeah, it certainly creates a lane for those fadeaway slides and back to a lot of those leg first slides into home plate. That was that good. That was that good. Martin, it's the pitcher, did not take a second look at the base runner at second base. He was reading it. He read him the first time that he made a delivery to the home plate. Then he decided, now watch him jump. He's got him read. And there was no second look. Had there been a second look, they might have had a pickoff. But there was no look back, and the runner just continues to third base. The Red Sox now pull the infield in.
Austin Nola up here. Took over for Andino earlier in the game. Martin falling behind 2-1. One out here, but a walk, an error from Devin Marrero, and an RBI double from Tellis. Now with a stolen base, Tellis at third. Nola just fouling Tellis. Just had to get out of the way of that one.
That's why you take your lead in foul territory, too, because if you're on the line or in fair territory, the ball hits you, you're out. You can see his lead in foul territory and then has to duck out of the way to get to not get hit in the back of the head on that one.
Pitch from Martin is outside, so it'll be a 3-2 count now to Nola. Heard a lot of talk about Kyle Martin, the big 25-year-old right-hander, 6'7", 230 pounds in his first big league camp. Better than a strikeout an inning over the course of his minor league career. Gets the ground ball here. Marrero will retire Nola, so 2 down now. Tellis still at third. Monday, it's an all-new Behind the B. A proud group of Bruins dads joined the team on a road trip to Carolina. Plus, 3 Bruins players contribute to an upcoming charity event at the World Trade Center site in New York City. Catch Behind the B Monday night at 8 on NESN. Big win this afternoon, Jerry, for the Beast. 3-1. They beat the Islanders. Getting ready for a West Coast trip now. Tough schedule coming up.
Boy, late in the season for a West Coast trip.
Yes, it is. You know, weird things happen out on the West Coast, Jerry. Kelly with a fly ball to center field. Lamar under it. That'll end the inning, but a couple of runs for the Marlins. They now lead 8-3 as the Sox come to bat at the bottom of the 8th. Jordan's Furniture, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. Right now, get up to 60 months with no interest on anything at Jordan's Furniture. Furnish one room or your entire home, and best of all, you'll get to enjoy it now. Visit Jordans.com for details. Bottom of the 8th here in the Red Sox, trailing 8-3. Hernandez will lead off the inning for the Red Sox. Marco Hernandez facing Cody Eage, who came in to end the 7th inning. He got Lamar on a called third strike. What do you think? Eage, Edge? They didn't give a pronunciation on him. So it's our guess. What do you want to guess? E-G-E.
I'm going to say Eage.
All right, I'm going with Eage. Iggy? Come on. All right. We've just been told officially, timing couldn't have been better, that it's pronounced Iggy.
Iggy.
E-G-E. Glad I asked. Cody Iggy. Drafted out of the University of Louisville. Hernandez, the grounder to third, first out of the inning. So getting Iggy with it.
Aha.
You like that?
Yeah, very good, TC.
There you go.
Very good.
Working on that one. 15th round pick by the Texas Rangers. Originally, he's from Sioux City, Iowa. As I said, drafted out of the University of Louisville. Got as far as AAA last year, where he pitched well, 8 appearances for New Orleans. An ERA of 0.75, 12 innings, just 1 earned run. .61", 185-pound lefty, 24 years old. One and one the count here. As Chris Dominguez gets his first at-bat of the game. Pinch hitting, or designated hitting, after David Ortiz went over 3. You know, you talked about Dustin Pedroia saying his timing wasn't quite there. We saw it starting to come around. Clearly, David Ortiz with the timing not quite there. We talk so much about the pitcher's progression at spring training. When, if ever, does it become a problem for the hitter at spring training?
Well, I think, you know, hitting's a constant problem. But I also think that, you know, the more games they play, and obviously the more at-bats they get, more repetitions they get, obviously the more comfortable they become. And, early in spring training, you don't get that many. Even if you're home, you might get 2 at-bats. They go on the road for a couple of days, and usually the starters don't make the road trip, so they don't get consistent at-bats. I think, till the middle of spring training is when you start piling up some at-bats. You might get 3 per game, 4 per game. You may play back-to-back days, so you may have a total of 8 at-bats in 2 days, and that's when the timing starts to come a little bit. Dustin said he was just a little bit off, just felt a little bit off. And then, that's not too bad. I mean, that's not much at all. He's right there. I've watched him take batting practice all week. He's been spectacular. It's just taking it into the game and feel comfortable there.
Swing and a miss there from Dominguez, the second out of the inning for Iggy. Today's Red Sox spring training game on Nesson is brought to you in part by Ace Ticket. Ace Ticket is Boston's trusted source for Red Sox, Bruins, and Celtics tickets. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. Treat someone special to a game now. Did you see a correlation in your career between what you did in spring training and the regular season?
No, I didn't. Honestly, I did not. There were times I'd go into the last week of spring training just feeling horrible about things, and you come out opening day, you get 2 hits, and you feel great. You forget all about spring training. And it works the other way, too. It works the flip side of that, too. But ideally, every player would like to be on target that last week of spring training, feeling good about themselves. But it's amazing how quickly all that goes out the window once you've played a couple of games that are for real.
Not to mention, a lot of times you're going from Florida or Arizona to some cold city up north where that opening day starter you face probably looks like he's throwing 120. Trouble with it at first base. Medica couldn't hold on. And so Marrero reaches safely to keep the inning going.
Yeah, Kelly had to go far to his left and a little bit deep, and by the time he was able to make that play, I think he had to force the throw a little bit to first base, and that caused him to throw it away. Now, he gets a nice bounce, but you see the stumble right there, and that kind of threw his timing off, and also the baseball. Now, that ball could have been picked at first base by Mecca, whoever it is.
Medica.
It could have been picked by Medica out there because it was not that far from him. It was a fairly easy one to pick, but I think that stumble at third base kind of threw the timing off for everything.
That'll bring Sam Travis up to the plate. Had a big 2-out home run yesterday, Jerry, in the top of the ninth that tied the game up against Toronto. Forced extra innings in that game. No tie, though. The Blue Jays were able to win it in the 10th. I think you were couple outs away from having a dreaded spring training tie.
They had it dreaded right back. I know that. 4 hours.
Yeah, that was a good day to be on the first bus. I was talking to Stephen Wright and Tim Wakefield. Wake had gone along for the ride to be able to see the knuckleballer pitch yesterday, and they got out on the first bus when the starters were done. It only took them about 2:45 travel time. The second bus took, as you said, 4 hours. They had to get off 75, which was shut down, and go through 41 on a Friday.
And Dunedin's, it's a good trip up there to play the Blue Jays. I mean, it's a long trip, a lot longer than you think. You go by Tampa, you go by Clearwater.
Travis taken all the way on 3-0, the called strike. 3-1 now. Faces Cody Iggy. Ground ball. After it. Good throw across the diamond, but he pulled Medica off the bag. Riddle did a nice job to get that and come up with the throw, but a long throw. Medica had to leave the bag to make that. So now, with 2 outs, 2 on for the Red Sox.
Yeah, nice effort here by Riddle, the shortstop, as he goes into the slide, but the throw's just going to bring that first baseman, Medica, off the bag a little bit. You see that foot just come right off the corner of the bag, and very good call by the umpire at first base. Tough one to see, but he made the correct call.
That'll bring up Travis Shaw with 2 down and 2 on here in the 8th inning. There is no experience quite like watching a Red Sox game in a private suite at Fenway Park. Email premiumsales@redsox.com or call 617-226-6912 to book your private suite today. The pitch from Iggy outside. Well, you talked about Shaw and where he fits into this team. We saw certainly some power out of Travis Shaw last year. Surprising some people, 13 homers in just 65 games with the Red Sox. And he sends this one up to right field. It is high, it is far, and it is gone. A 3-run home run for Travis Shaw. And the Red Sox cut the lead to 2.
Now, this is why the Red Sox liked him so much. Remember his last at bat, he got a pitch away from him that he was able to go out, hook, and pull for a base hit. Now he gets a pitch in, a pitch that was supposed to be away. It stays inside, and he is all over it and really hit that ball a long way to right field.
And that'll do it for Cody Iggy. Nick Whitgren will come into the game of the Red Sox. Their third home run of the game, trailing 8-6 here in the bottom of the 8th. Welcome back. Jet Blue Park at Fenway South, bottom of the 8th now. And a 2-out rally here for the Red Sox. All began when Marrero reached safely on the error. An infield single for Sam Travis and a 3-run home run for Travis Shaw. That ends the day for Cody Iggy, and that'll bring in Nick Whitgren. Whitgren last year started the season in AA, moved up to AAA, had a combined 3.03 earned run average. 24-year-old has 219 minor league games career. First pitch swinging the fly ball from Bosch ends the inning. But the Red Sox put 3 up on the board on the home run from Shaw. We head to the 9th. Marlins leading by 2.
Welcome back to Jet Blue Park. I'm Garen Austin. We are in the top of the ninth. The Marlins with an 8-6 lead over the Red Sox. TC, Jerry, it was a special week for Torey Lovullo. His son Nick plays baseball for Holy Cross, and the team actually worked out here in between their two games this week on Thursday. I talked to Lovullo about it, and he said it was really exciting because he never gets to see his son Nick, and he said it was really cool because he got to watch him play and they got to interact a lot. But he said it was kind of weird being a dad in uniform at the same time, but he said it was definitely a proud dad moment to have him here.
Very cool, Garen, and a good week, obviously, for Holy Cross. The Crusaders, as I said, winning their basketball tournament. They head to the NCAA tournament, back in the big dance. Nick Lovullo having himself a nice run with the baseball team. And Garen wearing the purple shirt today, I think, in honor of Holy Cross. She was rocking the colors. There you go, Garen. Well done. See, now, so that's a break, right? She had been matching up with us.
Yeah,
up to now.
That's kind of going out the way. She's got different color shirts than we got.
Yeah.
So it's not possible to match up every single game. She had a lime green one, I think, in our last broadcast, and today that purple shirt. So we don't have those colors.
Thank God. I'm not sure I could pull off lime green. I think she can. I don't think we can. It's good. It's good for Garen to express her individuality in these broadcasts. Nice job, Garen.
Thanks, guys.
We put her on the spot. Shame on us. But I just, thought that was great that she was doing the Purple Crusaders story and she had the purple shirt to back it up. That's planning ahead.
What a thrill for those kids to be down here and be able to play some baseball here in this beautiful complex.
Oh, that's great. And Torey Lovullo, so hard, those guys, you don't get much of a chance to go see your son play at all, right? He's a little busy this time of year. So to have them here and to have him get to be around him had to be a great moment for both Torey and Nick. Williams Jerez on the mound for the Red Sox now. He's a guy who's been getting some attention down here. He's been pitching well for the Red Sox at spring training. Jerez, just his third year last season as a full-time pitcher. But this will be his third year. Last year, started in Greenville, moved his way up through Salem and ultimately in Portland. 31 strikeouts and 37 innings of work with the Sea Dogs. And again, he's a guy who was drafted as an outfielder. They thought he'd be a Carlos Beltran type. Instead, last year, he was the Red Sox minor league pitcher of the year. Ground ball here as Medica begins the inning with a base hit. They saw him playing outfield and they saw his arm from the outfield. 5 outfield assists in just 90 games, and they said, why don't you come into the office for a minute? He thought for all the world he was being released. The bat wasn't there, it just wasn't working out. They said, well, we're not going to release you. We're going to see if you want to try being a pitcher. And he said, yes, I do.
Yeah, those are great stories. There's a lot of times as a position player, when it doesn't work out, I mean, it's time to go home. But they gave him another option, and to his credit, he was able to take that opportunity, work with it, work on the craft, and all of a sudden, here he is in a big league camp.
And I think it's interesting for an organization when they get a guy like that, Jerry, because it's raw talent. You know, you can kind of mold this guy. He's got the arm. Can you mold him into the pitcher you think he can be?
And it's a whole different mindset than what he's used to, too. I mean, you know, going from an outfielder to a pitcher who is got to make something quality happen and just about on every single pitch. Very difficult job.
Nobody asked you at the end to try pitching?
No. No, I don't think so, TC. Not with my arm. Maybe if I had developed a knuckleball, that would be a possibility. Yeah, that's the way
to go. Yeah, no question. Didn't Wade Boggs, they say, had a terrific knuckleball?
He did. Yeah. He really did. He throw it to every once in a while when you were playing catch with him, but I didn't like it. I didn't like catching it.
End up catching that in the face if your glove's not on it.
Matter of fact, my arm, when I came out of high school, I was a shortstop, and as soon as I got the pro ball, they took one look at my arm and they said, "You are now, son, a second baseman."
We're going to move you halfway closer to first base.
Yeah, you're going closer to the bag.
Not what these scouts would call a plus arm?
No, a very average at that time, which got better in time.
Fly ball here to left. Galloway getting all of that one, and that is off the top of the wall. A stand-up double for Galloway, and again, as I said earlier, off the double from Medica. No, actually, I think it was Sandoval back for the Red Sox. That would be out of the ballpark at Fenway Park, but this green monster is a little taller than the one back in Boston.
Yeah, and that's pretty good hitting, too, because that was off speed, and he's out in his front foot, so it just gives you an idea of how strong he is. We've seen his speed in this game. Now we see some of his power. So the Red Sox in a little bit of trouble here late in the ball game. Second and third, nobody out in the inning.
And that spot, Jerry, above the seats, right? You've got the screen there, the seating inside the green monster here. They needed a certain amount of clearance above that. So that area above it is essentially the difference between Fenway Park and JetBlue Park. This one hit to left as well, and that'll bang off the wall. Played by Lamar in center field. Comes up, throw with a good arm. Almost gets him at second base, but he's in there with a double. So Hood, a 2-run double here in the ninth. And Jerez has given up hits to each of the first 3 batters he has faced.
Yeah, the Red Sox battled their way back to a couple of runs down, but that quickly they give him back is single and 2 doubles. That pitch down in the zone, too. You can see the deke right there by Lamar trying to fool the runners. But that did not work as 2 runs will score, and into second base goes Hood with the 2 RBIs and the 2 base hits. So still nobody out, man at second base.
And that'll bring up Wilson for the second time. He drew a walk to lead off the 8th inning. In the 9th now, and it is a 10-6 lead for the Marlins. Marlins started the Grapefruit League season struggling, but they've certainly played better of late. Undefeated in their last 6 games. They had one of those spring training ties in there. So 5 wins and a tie. In hockey, you'd say 11 out of 12 points. And looking to extend that unbeaten streak to 7 games here today. 6-5 win yesterday around the corner at Hammond Stadium against the Twins. The 5-run 3rd inning setting the stage today. 2-run double from Derek Dietrich and the big 3-run homer from Xavier Scruggs, who was a late addition to the lineup when Chris Johnson was pulled out, dealing with a back issue. Rez drops that one in for the strike. 2-1 the count now. Three and 1 the count now to Wilson. Gets the called strike. Got to bring the count to 3-2. Perez was originally drafted in the 2nd round as an outfielder, as we said. He only hit .221 over his 3 seasons positional play. Certainly had better results as a minor league pitcher. Trouble today, though. Fouled off by Wilson. He'll do it again.
A very protective swing right there, and looked like he was trying to move that ball to the right side, even though they're up by 4 runs at this point. Nobody out, man at second. Fundamentally, you try to get him to third base, and looked like that time he was trying that inside-out swing to get that ground ball to the right side.
Strike 3 called, so Jerez is able to get Wilson first out of the inning.
And Jerez wouldn't let him do it. You know, if he's thinking about going that way, Jerez kept that fastball inside on the last 2 pitches, so it made it very difficult if he was trying to get the job done by moving the ball that way, to do it. This ball is perfectly placed on the inside part of the plate, inside corner, and just completely freezes the hitter at home plate and gets the first out of the inning.
That'll bring up Justin Bone. With one out, man on second. The Red Sox once again down by 4. All 6 runs for the Red Sox coming via the home run today. A solo shot for Hanley Ramirez back in the 4th inning. A 2-run shot for Chris Young in the 7th. And then a 3-run homer for Travis Shaw in the 8th. We'll be bringing you tomorrow's game as we head north to Port Charlotte. Red Sox will be taking on the Tampa Bay Rays on Nesson. We've got games coming up for you. A lot of games coming up. You're going to be busy in the coming weeks.
Yeah, we have 2 in the middle of the week. We've got, of course, Tampa Bay tomorrow. Then Tuesday, the foundation game here at Fenway Park. The Yankees are going to be here. Then we go to Minnesota for a night game. Actually, Fort Myers to a night game, but play the Minnesota Twins. And back-to-back games next weekend.
Then we've got Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Philadelphia over Easter weekend. Then it's north of the border, Olympic Stadium. Looking forward to that one as we'll go up there and call the 2 games against Toronto. Both games already sold out. So you're going to have more than 50,000 people on hand as Montreal trying to come together and bring Major League Baseball back to the city. Base hit by Bone to left field, so advancing to third will be the runner Hood. You'll have men on the corners here with the catcher Tellis coming up. John Farrell will come out, and that'll do it today for Jerez. So not the way he wanted things to work out today, as he will leave with 2 runs in and 2 on, and the Red Sox trailing 8-6 here in the 9th. Ninth inning continuing here in Fort Myers, Florida. The Red Sox trailing 10-6. Jerez comes out of the game. Mike McCarthy will come into the game. McCarthy, 17th round pick back in the, or 14th round pick, 17th overall in the 2011 draft last season. You see his numbers in the minors. Made 18 starts with Portland, but was relieving by the time they moved him up to Pawtucket. Spent the majority of the season with Double-A Portland. For each of the last 2 years, Jerry was named the Citizen of the Year for the Portland Sea Dogs. Very involved in the community. He's active on social media. Actually writing a blog about life in the minors at one point. Interesting guy who uses that time to do some reading and to learn about the places he goes.
And that's great, you know, and that would be very interesting, too, for folks who just pretty much follow Major League Baseball to see what life is like at the minor league level. It's a little bit different.
course, a lot easier to do it when you playing your baseball in a great city like Portland, Maine. Not all minor league cities are created equal. Red Sox pretty fortunate with Pawtucket and Portland and Lowell, everything pretty much in the backyard. You know, I think these guys now, more than ever, when they get to Boston or even here in spring training, know what the Red Sox are all about and know what Red Sox fans are all about.
Yeah, they play so close to Boston, obviously, that they get a taste of that as they read about it every day in the paper. They obviously watch it on TV when they can. And they're also invited to spring training. You know, there are more people involved in spring training than there ever have been in baseball. So it's not like, you know, you've never seen a major league uniform. You've never seen a major league ball player. You've never seen a major league park. You're part of it. And I think that really helps the comfort level for some of these players when they do get called up.
Now, the game has gotten younger. You know, we talked about the sort of changes in attitude with younger players coming into the game now, as that one's fouled off by Tellis. But, you know, younger players are making it up to the big leagues now more than ever before, or certainly in recent years. And, you know, part of that ability to make the transition to the major league level quicker is happening because these guys spend time around the major leaguers at camp. You know, you might go through 2-3 camps before you ever get a call-up. By the time you get the call-up, you got a little bit of an idea, Jerry, about what it's like to be a major leaguer.
Yeah, and then you're not a stranger to all of it.
Fly ball left field. Brent's there to make the catch. Coming in uncontested is Hood, so the sacrifice fly makes it an 11-run day for the Marlins. Second out of the inning here in the ninth.
And for example, CC, when I was coming up through the minor league system, we had no contact at all with the major league players, you know, at all. I mean, our complex was in a different spot. You never were invited to a big league spring training. It was basically the 40-man roster, and that was it. And, you know, until you were invited to a spring training with major leaguers, that was your first experience with it. So it's quite different today as so many players get an opportunity to become part of spring training. And I think that helps them obviously gain confidence in what they're doing and where they're going to end up during the season. That, you know, hey, I played against these guys, so I know what it's all about.
Where'd you begin? Magic Valley?
That Twin Falls, yes.
Twin Falls in Idaho and Iowa. And
that was after getting optioned. I was supposed to go to Idaho Falls in the Angel organization and actually got optioned out of there to Twin Falls, Idaho, which was a co-op team. And things weren't looking real good for me at that point.
Really?
You know, I was 18 years old, 19 years old at the time. And, you know, I thought for sure that I was on my way home. But you know, just getting the chance to play in that short league, the summer league, you know, and then next year going to A-ball, and, you know, things started to develop for me. But that was a long way from home. I went from high school to Magic Valley. You know?
And a long way from the majors. I mean, you didn't go to a major league camp before you went to Magic Valley.
No.
Fly ball to center field. Lamar will track it and make the catch to end the inning. But 3 runs for the Marlins here in the ninth, opening up. Their lead is now 11-6. Red Sox coming up to their final at bat.
11-6. The Miami has the lead over the Red Sox, but the Red Sox have had some home runs today. Hanley Ramirez actually crushing one out of the ballpark. Young with a 2-run home run, the guy that we featured in the opening today, and a mislocation right there turns into a 3-run home run for Travis Shaw, who continues to hit with power here in spring training. That ball left inside part of the plate. He turns on it and drives it out of the ballpark, way out.
So down to the final 3 outs here for the Red Sox. Bryce Brenz will lead off the inning. Red Sox have had 10 hits here today, but 11 runs allowed by Red Sox pitching. The story here, Nick Whitgren out for another inning for the Marlins. Sox now are in danger of falling under 500 for the spring training Grapefruit League schedule. Unless you want to work in the 2 college games at the beginning of it, then they go back above 500. Brent's high fly ball to center field. Wilson is there. And he'll make the catch for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Dan Butler with 1 down here in the 9th inning. Butler returning to the organization after spending last year in the Washington organization, played for the Syracuse AAA team. After more than 400 minor league games, he made his debut with the Red Sox back in 2014. Got 7 games up, and that was one of those call-ups, Jerry, that literally everybody on the baseball ops side smiled about. This is a guy who has just toiled away at it, worked his tail off for everything he's ever gotten in this game. A lot of people thought he had plateaued at the AAA level, but got the opportunity, and you know what, his name's in the baseball register now. You'll never take that away.
Yeah, good for him, putting the time, putting the hard work in, and finally catching a break to get to the big leagues.
Came back to the Red Sox this season after that year in the Washington Nationals organization. Didn't get up with a big club at all. You've got Hannigan, Swihart, Vasquez working his way back from Tommy John surgery, but Butler and Leone will give them a couple of veteran guys. That's 5. Not sure you'll keep 5, so you'll see how the health of these catchers plays out. And then, as so often happens, at the end of last spring training, Leone was facing a numbers crunch in Washington, and the Red Sox needed a catcher, as Butler sends this one to right field for a base hit, 1 for 2 on the day.
Little inside-out swing that time, almost like a golf swing, a 9-iron shot to the opposite field that time by Butler.
Went down and got it. Ryan Lamar struck out his first at-bat. Lamar hit a home run last Saturday up at Tampa against the Yankees. Signed as a minor league free agent last year. Made his major league debut, Cincinnati. For 4 straight years prior to last year, was rated the Phillies' best defensive outfield prospect by Baseball America. And as we explained last week, he's a big hockey fan, which makes me like him.
TC likes his hockey.
Any guy who can talk hockey, around the batting cage, he'll get a little extra airtime in my book.
Did you guys have that hockey game that you generally have against the Red Sox?
No, we didn't have it this year because they didn't have the ice at Fenway.
Oh, it's only when they have the ice at Fenway?
Yeah, I wanted to. I told Sam Kennedy we should have a ski jump competition, but that didn't go too well. The one guy who did get to try it didn't work out too well. Eric Sharma, who's such a great skier. Had his fall on the mountain. But yeah, we talked about trying to bring it indoors, and it just never worked out. And that's okay, because we finally won the last time we played. So I just assumed he's sitting on a win.
I
risk
think
losing it again.
I think the game should be every year and play it at a neutral site, not just at Fenway Park. If you get the ice there, that's great. If you don't, I would take it some neutral site, some college arena or something, and play.
I still have a letter at my desk at Nesson from the second time we played and they beat us. We actually got a letter signed by Tom Warner and John Henry, Larry Lucchino, just reminding us the score and that we lost.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No letter last time when we beat them, though.
Did you send a letter? I
did not. That was off the wall. 3 straight hits here as Hernandez sends that one to the green. Monson will drive in both runs. So a 2-run double for Hernandez, and the Red Sox won't go quietly here on a Saturday afternoon.
Always nice to get into a game late and be able to do something productive. And that time, taking the ball out was away from him. Galloway goes back to the wall. I think he misread that ball because had he stayed with his back against the wall, he may have been able to make a catch on it. But, again, that wall just plays games with your head if you're not familiar with it. Well, if I was you guys, I would have wrote a letter back to them. I mean, they can't be talking smack to you without expecting to get it back in return.
But see, the ground ball here to short. Lamar, who I inadvertently had coming in on that double, stayed at third base. Now he comes in, so my scorecard is corrected because now he's scored. It was a 1-run double and then an RBI ground ball out there for Dominguez, and the Red Sox down to their last out. Well, that goes back to your conversation before, though. Yeah, showboating. Sometimes you just got to act like you've been there.
Well,
we win the game.
They acted like the babies first.
See, but you don't have to respond. You can be the bigger man.
No, once somebody acts like a baby to you, you got to baby it back.
We'll see him on the ice. That's the hockey credo, Jerry. Make your actions on the ice speak louder than your words. Two down now here in the bottom of the ninth. The Red Sox trailing 11-8 as Marrero, the man on second base, trying to keep this going. Red Sox have scored 7 runs here in the last 3 innings. But each time they've clawed their way back, the Marlins have put a couple more on the board. Here's Marrero, line drive to center. It hangs up there, and Wilson makes the catch to end the game. So plenty of offense this afternoon. 19 runs, 25 hits total. But in the end, it is the Marlins coming away with the 11-8 win.
A little to the left.
Red Sox fall to 5-6 on the Grapefruit League season. The Marlins even up their record now at 500. So the Red Sox beaten on a Saturday afternoon here at home. We're back with you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We travel north to Port Charlotte to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. We'll be on Nesson at 1 o'clock. Final score for the final time here. Miami 11, Boston 8 for Jerry and Garen. I'm Tom. See you tomorrow.